We're all owned by the Syndicate, body and soul. Or should I just say body?
Hello, filthy movie lovers, something weirdos, and anti-criterion bros, to the 17th episode of the Sin Syndicate, the only podcast that has given up all hope on any surviving MyTam film productions, and thanks God nightly for the existence of Peggy Sarno. My name is Gentry Austin, and I'm here with my co-host, adult film historian Casey Scott. And this week, we are joined by our unofficial third member of the Syndicate, our young Canadian friend, Alex DiSanto, who will be joining us for something different, a personal top 10 ranking of our most desired, lost, and in limbo sexploitation films.
Nothing in the jungle I want. Not even the air. It stinks. It smells like. Open the window.
This is what you've read about but never seen, the frantic lust that's eating our society.
Besides the silent era, I can't think of another decade that has as many lost films as the golden age of sexploitation. Casey, can you kick it off quick and kind of explain why that is?
Sure. Well, these were all, independently made films with a limited number of places where they would be shown. So the distribution angle was always going to be, a handful of theaters in one state, maybe one theater in another. And then sometimes some films were only distributed regionally. Mm-hmm. So like Texas films might have left the state and gone to Florida and maybe California, maybe up north. But so with that in mind, and considering how expensive prints are, there were only a handful of prints made for each title. And those would typically... through print exchanges, prints would travel through states and get to different theaters. There are some situations where there would be two theaters in one town showing a movie, and their times would be coordinated so that print could be shared by two theaters. And that has happened in several different places. So, and typically, if a film was really popular, it would be run into the ground. And for years too, I'm fine. There are black and white films that were screened for 5-6 years at the bottom of triple features, or sometimes if they thought, what is the good David Friedman quote is a film is like a bag of flour. There's always a little more flour at the bottom of the bag if you just shake the bag. So these films the prints were run into the ground. And going back to pre-print materials, a lot of these labs, if we knew where these labs even were, because there wasn't always one central lab where they were kept, and we're also dealing with different regions as well, not just New York. So everyone knows about the New York movie lab raid that Something Weird and Distropix coordinated, but then there were other labs in New York that were not raided, and so those films, there's negatives specifically, and negatives, interpositives, any pre-print elements were tossed, and so in some cases, you have to rely on prints as the only existing proof that this film even existed. And so we get really lucky with negatives for stuff for the Findlay films, or a lot of the Sarno films and a lot of the Wishmans. But then there are other films, like the ones we're going to talk about today, where all we have is a trailer, and that is it. And not even a reel of film exists. In some cases, there are Something Weird with their Twisted Sex series would include not just trailers, but also just random reels of silent outtakes, or if they have one reel of raw love, then they'll shove that on a compilation, be like, this is all that exists of this movie. So for real dyed in the wool perverts like the three of us on this episode, we this is what keeps us up at night.
Yeah,
this is the stuff where we're like, okay, guys, where are we ever going to see the Lost Milligans, which we talked a lot about before? Are we ever going to see the 3 or 4 Sarno films that we still don't have anything on?
So let's set up our rules here. Mm-hmm. And like you said, off the top, it has to have a trailer that we can at least view. There's a lot of these films. Alex can talk to this. He's got plenty of press books for films that are lost, but there's not even a trailer we can see. So we're kind of leaving those out of our scope. Our scope will be existing trailer, one film from one director each, and we're going to allow 2 substitutions. So, if I have something on my top 10 list and I pick it at number 10, Casey or Alex has it at number 2, they're allowed to make a last minute swap in when we get to their number 2 or, whatever. I think that's it. Am I missing anything, guys?
I think we laid the ground rules that we all want the Milligans, and so and we already talked about them. So
those are off the table as well. Yeah,
that's established. We want every single Milligan. So that's just like they're not going to be on the list because they are their own list. They are a higher echelon of lost film because they're kind of the holy grail above all.
There are London After Midnights, pretty much. There are 6 London After Midnights. For the most part,
the Milligans are the end all. Like that's the final boss. Once you find those, there's hope for everything else. Yeah. So yeah.
All right. Should I kick it off here? Should we jump right in?
Yes, I think you said you wanted to go in alphabetical order.
Oh, yeah, so we are going to go in alphabetical by last name.
Which I misread that. I was like, I thought you said from in alphabetical order from the bottom of the alphabet. I was like, oh, I have to go first? Damn, okay. I misread that. But no, we'll let you go first.
All right. I have an ulterior motive in that I wanted to connect back to last episode where we covered 2 Girls for a Madman, and there was an actor in that film, a certain Casey Scott favorite called Lucky Cargo. He was in a lost film called Carny Girl from 1970. That's my number 10.
It's the sexiest show on earth. It's Carny Girl, the adult film that pulls no punches. Now, for the first time on any screen, Carny Girl, shot entirely on location, on the midways, in the dressing rooms and tents of an actual carnival. We take you behind the scenes. We show you the girls, naked, raw, real, as they grind out a living. We strip the girls and the sellers of girls and bring them to you in living flesh and in color. See men driven to rape by the lustful Carny Girl. Starved, frustrated men driven to frenzy at the sex market on the Carnival Midway.
Frank Garto. I am unfamiliar with this director. All I know is that he produced Julie's No Angel. You know that one, Casey, right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so what do we know? I don't really know much about this. I'm just intrigued by the idea of seeing Lucky Cargo in a Carny film.
Well, isn't Sharon Kent also in Carny Girl?
Well, Susan Landau's.
Susan Landau is a later period.
Yeah, I can spot Sharon.
Yeah, Sharon.
Yeah, I think she is.
I was busy being so flabbergasted by the visuals that I was seeing in that trailer. It's one of those. It's like, oh, that's definitely sexy. That's definitely going to get me to go and see this.
Are you being sarcastic, Alex? Or you
don't like the big fat guy who looks like Jack King and trying to sexually assault.
I could smell this trailer from a mile away. That's all I'm gonna say. I could smell this movie.
Oh, like hot dogs and like fried food
on
like
the ground,
food?
though. On the ground, stepped on after a week.
All right, let me read the one sheet poster. So the quote on the one sheet is: "Behind the scenes with the wild girls of the Midway, skin shows, every thrill shown in its own naked light as these torrid sex slaves perform." So yeah, this is a Lucky Cargo. Susan Landau's on the she's billed on the poster. Debbie Lynn. And what else do we know? Do you guys know anything else about this other than I don't know where. I want to know where it was shot.
Well, and it reminds me of Carnival of Blood, which is the same year, and it has that same kind of gross, nasty color visuals from Leonard Kirtman's Carnival of Blood. Could have been Carnival of Blood is Coney Island. I don't know if this was shot on. It doesn't look like it was shot on Coney Island, but it reminds me of actually Honey. It's the storyline. The trailer to Honey is very similar to the trailer of Carny Girl, right down to the fat guy trying to abduct these girls, and I'm just like, Is this a remake that we don't know of because both films are lost?
There's just something in the air.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But
And-
I've seen, that poster's been very tantalizing. Trailer's been very tantalizing for years.
Yeah. Alex, did you have something?
Yeah. Oh, in terms of plot, 'cause I just pulled out the AFI catalog. It's about
very
a
nice.
small town girl who joins a traveling carnival and becomes one of their best exotic dancers. Which then, of course, eventually, after her especially getting assaulted by the obese hot dog vendor, and then thus becoming going under the influence of a domineering lesbian, she soon finds out that the carnival life is loaded with prostitution and lesbian activity that she is having difficulty escaping from. Thankfully, it's also only 67 minutes as well.
Yes. And then it's Kim Pope, right? Kim Pope is in it too, which is very early Kim Pope.
Yeah, all he's got besides Lucky and Susan, is a gal named Debbie Lynn as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't recognize
name
that.
Could be anybody, but I think Kim Pope is in the trailer, and that's the same year she was in like Tuck Me In. And this is Chancellor Films, is it not?
Yes.
So there you go. No, and we're going to be seeing that name a lot.
Hence why it's lost. Yeah,
that is the big studio that distributor.
I think we can safely argue that Chancellor Films is probably, at least in terms of East Coast, the most significant loss in sexploitation films, just because of how many filmographies from people we know it would help to complete. I think, Chancellor is definitely the absolute biggest crime in terms of lost sexploitation films. Maybe even for West Coast. I can't think of another lost West Coast company.
Just My Town for West Coast.
And they were very insular too, though. Like we're not missing a lot of
because it wasn't a bunch of different directors. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Chancellor's got Sarno, Mahon, people like Alan Savage, like smaller, interesting people too as well. Sandy Johnson. Like they covered a lot.
So I'm thinking this had to have been shot probably at Coney Island.
I mean, that's kind of that's a really good location if you want to shoot something at a carnival.
You can do a guerrilla style.
It has the ride.
Exactly. Maybe some like exteriors and then put up some like fabric in an empty room to make it look like interior tents. You know, you can make it work. Like there's that noir film Girl on the Run from like the 50s that somehow makes like just a couple sheets work for it. For the fact that like seems like it takes place in a carnival, but it's obviously not. So I have some faith in them, but the hot dog guy a little bit more, and I'll be a bit more enticed.
Well, this trailer also is narrated by a woman who narrates a ton of trailers. Like Joel Holt retired, and then this woman took over and did all these New York trailers. This very sultry voice. She dubbed Linda Boyce in a lot of stuff. It's not Linda, but I want to know who this woman is. That's another tantalizing mystery of that trailer and a lot of other ones. Like, who was this woman? She's great, whoever she was. Nice.
Next on the list here, Mr. DiSanto. What's your number 10?
I'm gonna have to go with, because I really also, partially because I want the series to be completed, is Madame Olga's Massage Parlor.
Motion picture dared penetrate the inner workings of the Vice Syndicate. You will see for the first time how the notorious Madame Elaine and her vicious associate Nick really treat their pay-for-play girls when they go against their masters. Violence, so grotesque only a warped, sadistic mind could conceive. Innocent-looking health apparatus used with sinister and insane perfection to destroy its captives. It would rival the death chambers of Genghis Khan. Elaine uses various torture devices upon her girls to force them into discipline and to bend their will to hers.
This, and also because, again, like Olga's House of Shame, as Alice Linville, as W.B. Parker, and it's also partially shot, as the trailer shows, with some sync sound sequences. So it seems like to be one of the better of the Olga films in terms of production. However, oddly enough, and the press book doesn't say why, but this time around, Olga's gone. I like to think that she just got promoted higher up into the syndicate and she's living her best life somewhere else in the syndicate.
Right.
But at this time, it's just Nick and Elaine who are doing their regular operations. However, this time they take over a health club that is called Madame Olga's. as a front for their syndicate operations. They're back to jewel smuggling. And of course,
Olga's franchising. Yeah. Olga franchised her place out now.
Right. And then she'll have a dance hall at some point later. Right.
Yeah,
Jim,
exactly. Well, actually, she'll have to sue for that one because they stole her name. So Olga will be suing the dance hall. Olga will be suing the dance hall for that one.
That one's not official, right?
You can even tell by some of the sync sequences. I think their names changed in the actual thing. Like someone got it was just an unfinished movie. And this is, of course, it's kind of the same story. Their trusted girls who they thought are trusted are found to have been withholding the jewels. Oh no. So Elaine decides to be ingenious and use the workout equipment to torture confessions out of the girls. And they discover who's been smuggling the jewels, and all is right again. As well, there is the press book lists things like Olga's mechanical massager, Olga's bondage devices to lose weight, Olga's steam room, girls imprisoned.
Well, we've seen half of those, haven't we? We've
Olga's
seen the steamer
and shaper. I don't know. This is a health club steamer, though. Like, I really wanted to see. Like, there's
it's in girl from SIN. Remember, they put Bob Oran in.
I think it's
steamer.
also in Olga's Girls, isn't it?
Is there a steamer in Olga's Girls?
I feel like there's some exercise equipment in one or both of those movies.
It's the full body one where your head just.
There's definitely some. Yeah, right.
Yeah. This is like some sort of like weird. I think I've seen stills from some sort of steam room. There's this woman who's like strapped to this weird workout apparatus thing. I don't know what on earth the leg stretcher and shaper could be doing as well. It's just morbid curiosity for what weird devices and what weird novelties they're gonna pull out. And I am a sucker for Werner Rose's camera work in these things.
Yeah,
his canted handheld angles. Good. I cannot get enough. I just put Olga films like on the background just for some of the like weird lighting and candid background visuals.
And you love that nonstop music.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Nonstop classical music, very dramatic.
I mean, how do you think I'm as classically educated as I am? It's thanks to American film distributing.
Right.
And again, this is
Stan Borden, classical music fan. Yeah.
And again, it really sucks because we have at least a third of the American film catalog, but huge chunks of it are still missing. We do, thankfully, we not only have the trailer for this. Footage was also repurposed for Mara's faux documentary Mondo Ascenita. So there's also a few more sequences from Massage Parlor in that one. There's another creepy male henchman who works for them in this one, who I know there's one really laborious sequence where he slowly strangles a girl to death in this one too. So they get into some murder, might dispose of some bodies. Will they do it differently than Olga's Shop 'em Ups and Olga's Girls? We don't know. We don't know, but once again, I would kill to see this one.
I have one still of it, which is Alice Linville, and I'm like, I love this so much because it's Alice Linville, who I love. So,
oh my god, I'll just send you my other ones. I have the one of like the girl strapped into that weird, exercise apparatus, and her with someone with their legs hanging up on some sort of weird leg stretcher type of thing. It did get released up here in Canada. I don't know if it got released anywhere else, which also, again, not a good spot to find lost films.
Right.
Once again, never ever get your hopes up for sexploitation films to show up in Canada, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know you've said that before.
Yeah, don't go for it. But again, we have a trailer and we have one or two scenes at the very least.
That's something.
At least like 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, and I am always want to see anything that has Judy Young in it because we only got a small handful of them that are existing. I'm trying to remember, in House of Shame, does she start out as kind of like a good girl that's converted by Madame Olga, right?
So she was working for a rival.
Okay.
She was working for a rival who gets captured. And then Elaine then convinces Olga that she should take her under her wing. And then an interesting role reversal. She starts to become Olga's little sidekick. And it ends up actually being the one helmed to abuse the rival who initially employed her.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, Massage
think
Parlor
there's-
does it's like a direct sequel, basically.
It is a direct sequel. Yes, because W.E. Parker also.
The best part of that movie.
Maybe also in Olga's House of Shame, there might have been a sequence where he briefly came on to Alice, and then in this one they actually have a little bit of a shared bathtub sequence.
Mm-hmm.
So their relationship, is pretty much continuing on in this one. And again, I'm curious to see. Again, I love following the evil goons and things like that. I love, like, even if they're just like chilling around, like having breakfast. So I just wanted to see the two of them. I could just see the two of them hanging out, watching Netflix the whole time, and be completely happy with it. Him in those sunglasses, when they wear those shades indoors, goons wearing shades indoors, you know it's going to be good.
That's right. There's a lot of people listed in the credits. Have people just spotted these people in the trailers and added them to IMDb?
The press book
or is it all from the press book?
The press book's pretty meaty in terms of credits, actually. Yeah. The press
interesting. Because a lot of American film distribution stuff was not. And they didn't list anybody.
Yeah, no, like even in, I think one of the other ones, like Audrey Campbell's full name is listed in them and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the George Weiss ones. George Weiss designed, I'm pretty sure, the campaigns, at least somewhat. Chain Girls, the press book credits that campaign design to George Weiss. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was more so him instead of I forget what agency they normally went with to do most of their other campaigns, because the Olga ones are also the few that have a splash of red, that have a splash of color to them as well, as unlike the others too.
All right, you're up, Casey.
All right. Well, my top 10 is actually in reverse chronological order. So I just thought it was easier rather than trying to pick favorites. So my number 10 is The Peeping Phantom.
From the darkness of the night comes the Peeping Phantom. He terrorizes the lives of 20 luscious showgirls. What is this creature that is half man, half what? What evil force drives him on? You've never seen so many beautiful girls with so much to give, and all of it showing. If your heart can take it, you can't afford to miss this exciting picture, The Peeping Phantom.
Now, will you tell this court what your job is?
Well, I'm the choreographer, Your Honor. And on that day, after rehearsal, I saw that grotesque and monstrous figure of the man there. Well, after rehearsal, we were all very tired. I was more tired than anybody because I have the responsibility of this whole show on my shoulders.
Yes, go on, please.
I was beginning to undress.
Which is a 1964 monster nudie cutie. First things first, it is not the same movie as How to Succeed with Girls. I don't know how the IMDb confused these two. Actually, I do, because the AFI catalog combined them with no evidence that they are the same film. And that has now meant that there is no IMDb listing for The Peeping Phantom, but all but one image on IMDb for Peeping Phantom or for How to Succeed with Girls are Peeping Phantom materials. So it was, I'll read the synopsis from the AFI. In the court of Judge Goodbody, several chorus girls in a musical review relate their experiences with the Peeping Phantom, whose method of operation was to lurk in the dressing rooms to watch the girls as they changed clothes. The trial concludes with the Peeping Phantom's own surprise testimony. And that's it. Shot in bold color in Florida by Cuban refugees, as a lot of these films were eventually made in Florida. The guy who directed it and stars as the Phantom, I believe, is Armando Roblon. And so he was known as a notable Fidel Castro impersonator, and he escaped from Cuba and landed in Florida. He also appears in Manny Conde's calendar Pinup Girls. And it was distributed by a company called All American Film Producers, Inc., or that was the production company. It was distributed by Inter-American Film Distributors, which is another Florida distributor. It's produced by Rene Martinez, which a lot of people may know from Road of Death and The Guy from Harlem, Road of Death is not great. Guy from Harlem is amazing in its awfulness. It was shot by Julio El Rodon, who the same year as this did Love Goddesses of Blood Island and then also did Sting of Death for Bill Grafé. Dolores Carlos is in it. She's in the trailer. Esmeralda Piwan, who's from Naked Complex, is in the trailer. It also got a theatrical release in Brazil in 1965. So if anyone has a print of this, I wonder if it's a Brazilian distributor down there. I don't know what their film preservation is like down there. But the trailer is great. I mean, I think it's interesting because it's before Kiss Me Quick, because Kiss Me Quick was made 64, released like very early 65. And yeah, it's like Phantom of the Opera with like chorus girls. The Brazilian title is O Monstro e as Choristas. So it's the monster and the chorus girls. And it looks great. It's tantalized me for years. And I never believed that it was the same movie as How to Succeed with Girls, because nothing matches nothing matches than the info in that movie with Peeping Phantom. And so that is one I'm obviously really hoping turns up somewhere.
Yeah, the Phantom like connection had this almost making my list as well, but it did not quite. But yeah, I like the monster nudity. And like you said, like this, there was a ton of those in the early 60s, those Italian vampire films that were like The Vampire and the Ballerina. Yeah.
And then Monster in the Opera, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it kind of reminded me of those. I mean, those were, it could have been a slight riff on that.
Possibly, because it does look like more of a comedy than like a horror film.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Who knows? That's the only reason why I did put on my list, because I was like, who knows if the comedy is going to land in this one or not. That's my only one holdout, because it also looks like a good film. Like, it has some decent looking production value. Some of the lighting camera work in the trailer is pretty damn good. It was very close to get on my list. It looks like the most expensive film Inter-American ever handled. I wonder if if the producers actually saw much from it, because it does look like they put some decent bucks into it, unless they had decent connection.
Well, that production company existed from 62 to 66, so that made me wonder, okay, what else did they do? I don't know if they also, maybe because of the background of the filmmakers, I don't know if they did maybe some Spanish language films that were only released to Spanish language theaters that we just aren't aware of because they're not documented. But yeah, I think it's interesting that it also is kind of like the beginning of the career for Rene Martinez, who was very involved with these films with like Rafael Remy and Jose Prieto. So yeah, a lot of these Cuban guys coming to Florida to make films. So yeah, I'm dying to see it.
All right. My number 9 is The House of Cats, 1966. Arch Hudson. Sorry, guys. I probably bumped one off your list.
No. I'll full disclosure, no, but I have the press book.
All right.
Coming to this theater soon, the most daring expose yet to be filmed, The House of Cats. What are their longings, the wants of this type of woman in our society? Is the ultimate end seeking satisfaction of lust or love? In The House of Cats, you will see the stark nakedness of a procurer's human desires being fulfilled before he turns a girl into a life of prostitution. If you embarrass easily, this is the picture for you. Coming to this theater soon, The House of Cats.
This is just one that has just such a great trailer. I don't really have a whole lot else to say about it other than just check out the trailer and you'll kind of get the vibe I think it's going for. It doesn't have a whole lot of big names in it that I could tell. Maybe you guys know some of these characters, but it's just got all kinds of My Tam craziness, like whippings, bondage, but there's also like this weird shed. That's kind of what hooked me on this one. Alex knows what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, the torture like this shed. Yeah,
torture shed, and you can see.
So like the tortured female shed, sort of.
Kind of. It looks smaller than that. Like the door's open.
It's a much more narrow shed.
Yeah. And you can see like the woods outside the door.
My photo's super tiny.
Alex is showing
my still is super tiny, but like it's not the same tortured females shed.
Okay.
I don't think so. In terms of plot, because I actually do know what the plot is.
Yeah.
Because I'm a bit of a My Tam obsessive. A pimp who's normally quite cold and unfeeling falls for a girl that he's currently breaking into for prostitution. Which someone that I believe he's trying to break into, a madam is like using him to procure women. So in order to stop him from, falling for this gal, he gives her over to the madam of this brothel a little sooner than he probably should, it seems, because upon realizing that this gal, upon realizing that she's being controlled by the madam, goes berserk. And while trying to calm her down, which translates to just knock some sense into her, the madam accidentally kills her. And in a panic, she calls the pimp, and enraged, he ends up killing her. And in proper My Tam fashion, the police are called and the house is closed. We can go home, everyone.
Yep, sounds about right.
And yeah, like you said, it does have some good, like, roughy looking scenes. Multiple people are being like strangled and tied up.
There's like prostitutes wrestling on a bed.
Yeah, they're fighting over each other for Johns and things like that. Yeah, there's the aggressive older madam who has really high hair. I've got the one sheet for it. She's great. She also turns up in mail service for them, because I've seen her in a still or two for mail service. And I know that apparently the man who plays, I recognize in one of these stills, the man who plays the lead in My Tam's Satan's Mistress is also in this one as well.
Okay.
There's like very slight crossover between like mail service and Satan's Mistress, like kind of same year of productions, just like they just kind of bounce into the next one, it seems. And this is also one that is technically also directed by Arch Hudson, apparently, who did Tortured Females.
Yes.
So would also love to see it, just because we know Tortured Females is wonderfully insane.
Yeah.
Right.
It's only 63 minutes, and it does exist. A print does exist in an archive. I don't know if I should say what archive it is, just so people don't like bother these people and things like that. But yeah, a print.
I mean, bother away. The greasy wheel gets the oil. If people are aware that this place has it, then maybe they'll be more agreeable to deal with it.
I've already put in a good word to some other people who could, so that's why.
If it's Kinsey, good luck. But yeah,
no, it's not Kinsey.
Okay, good. Okay,
it's one that people have dealt with. It's one people have dealt with some other stuff.
Good.
All right, so we'll consider this in limbo then. This is a limbo title.
Yeah. There's
still some hope
for it.
Okay, good.
Anything else on Arch Hudson, the director? Yeah, all we've seen from him is Tortured Females. He just seems like he was a My Tam guy, in-house guy. I don't know.
Yes, who knows where he went?
Yeah.
A lot of people are so insular.
Might not even have been his real name. Actually, probably wasn't.
Yeah.
No.
All right, that's my number 9, House of Cats. Alex, what's your number 9?
My number 9 is going to be, actually, I'm changing this right now because I don't want that one. It is going to be 1967's Diary of Knockers McCullough. Had to pick one. Had to pick a Mahon.
All right, this is his Barry Mahon. This is your Barry pick.
This is my good pick. There was initially another one of his more lavish productions I had picked, but having seen a couple months ago one of his more thought to be lavish productions, The Love Pirate, I just have
you don't have any faith in him to pull off a lavish production.
The Love Pirate was literally just the same thing of people standing in rooms, but just in more elaborate settings.
Yeah.
For the most part.
How did you see that?
It got released on tape in Europe as Sex at Sea. I've got tape.
Oh, that's right. And I still haven't seen
tape rip. Yeah, it came out as Sex at Sea. Unless you want to see Brad Grinter forget to emote, unless that's your thing, don't really have a lot of good things to say about Love Pirate. So in Diary of Knockers McCullough is one that, for once again, only 67 minutes, it sounds pretty busy. So fingers crossed that people are only standing around in shots for less than a minute, unlike something like Sex Club International, which the only thing I can remember from that one is women standing in a corner. For this one...
No, not a Lucky Cargo fan either, huh?
I don't remember anything about that besides just women working out in a corner. That's it.
Doesn't even remember Lucky. Oh, no.
No, absolutely do not. This is another...
They're both banned from the podcast.
I'll see myself out. This is another one that is, again, unfortunately lost because of Chancellor. Because, Barry Mahon distributed a bunch of films with both Chancellor and Sack Amusement. Sack Amusement's also a bit, of course, problematic. Hardly anything of theirs has showed up in neg form, besides, like, I think a 70s title or two. This one concerns a young woman who's nicknamed Knockers because she's notorious for her 37-inch bust, leaves home from her small town and ends up at a roadhouse which operates as a brothel, where she becomes an immediate success. Though after a problematic run-in with a customer, she then goes to Kansas City and begins working for one of the biggest call girl syndicates in that state. But alas, the DA starts putting the heat on. So Homegirl's now on her way to New York, where she joins the Party Girl Racket, which I guess dancers being hired for wealthy parties. Until, a gangland killing then puts an end to that endeavor. What's Beverly gonna do? Well, thankfully, an old wealthy man decides that he should make an honest woman out of her, and Vincent Van marries her. But he dies on their wedding night, leaving her with millions.
Which is included in the trailer. You see his death. Yeah, you see him like in the throes of agony, dying while he's having sex with her.
Yeah, the marriage to that old man is a still on the one sheet, which I don't know why they picked that one to be enticing when you have so many other great shots of our titular nameless actress once again.
No, we know her name. It's Rita Bennett. Right?
No.
Rita Bennett. Do not trigger me.
I'm kidding.
Thank you, Tim Lucas, for rewriting history.
I did partially pick it because, of course, Rita Bennett does make an appearance, and I love her.
She does.
And Alex Mann is also in this, who I do also like to see. But Mystery Gal is also another favorite of mine. I don't know what
I call her Knockers McCullough. That's all I call her and everything. Because that's the only movie where she's the title character. So I say, this movie has Knockers McCullough in it, and people know exactly who I'm talking about.
And again, I don't have it. I've seen the press book. Of course, unfortunately, Barry Mahon does not credit anyone in any of his press books. None of the press books I've seen of things that she's in show her and things, but no, she's one of those gals I really like to see. For some odd reason, her method of acting, her slight unflustered theatrical deadpan works for me. For me in some of the characters like that she plays like in Vibrations. She's like,
I love her in Vibrations.
Yeah, she's so wonderfully passionate about. I have this little.
Sarno cast well with that, I think, because he had the two sisters who were really good, like Maria Lise, and I forget the other girl who's good too. Maria, I think her name is Maria something else, but Maria Prevost, I think. And then then you have Knockers McCullough, who's like, it works with that acting style.
So I get the sense that hopefully this would also be a pretty good vehicle of her. The character just seems to work. It's like, God, I guess it's time to move on.
I know. Just stumbling her way into some other weird a road movie with Knockers McCullough. That's so great.
I know, that's fantastic.
Honestly, it could be terrible or it could be amazing. I don't know if she has
with her. I think it has to be amazing, right?
I don't know. I've seen her in Confessions of a Psycho Cat in that one.
I love her in that too.
It's pretty awkward.
Making out in the mirror. That's she's great. Where she's like, she does her best. She does her best in that one. She's
talking off screen to an actor that isn't there. That it's basically her scene is basically like an audition that's being filmed that's shoved into a movie. Yeah, she's replacing an actress who didn't do nudity in the original version.
Yeah, she's talking like someone is just saying, now say this.
Yeah. Right, exactly. She doesn't have a scene with anybody. She's in a solo scene, essentially. I just think it's weird how she lucked into appearing in films where she has zero credit in any of them. So we will never know what her name is unless we magically find somebody who vividly remembers working with her. Like maybe Maria Lise remembers what her name was. If we ask Maria Lise. That's the only thing, because Joe and Peggy did not. So
and also
Barry would not have
and also it would be a mystery because I know Michael Bowen once mentioned that he got Joe Sarno's Rolodex of old names and things like that, but also which out of all randomly named women is she? Like, how many people in this Rolodex could she be as well?
Correct.
I think she wasn't in any of those other Morris Kaplan films like All Sins of Sodom, Wall of Flesh. No. She just runs in for her vibrations and runs back out.
Right. Like Knockers McCullough. That was one of the Knockers McCullough's adventures. I guess I'll just be a nudie actress in New York and then I'll find another adventure to run on.
Yeah, maybe this is actually her. Maybe this is her true story. Maybe we're finding
I think her name is Knockers McCullough. I would just go with that. Like, that's honestly, what I call it. Because she sure as hell isn't Rita Bennett.
Yeah.
No. We love Rita, but we want more of Rita, but not in this way. Not in this way.
Exactly. Not even close.
Again, and they share a scene, which is so fun, which I'd love to see again. Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
We need that scene, and then we need to fax it to a certain somebody.
And the one thing I will say also,
I don't think he will ever live it down. I think he feels bad about it. So.
I know. I'm just kidding.
I also, once again, I want to say Chancellors are probably my favorite trailers in terms of how well edited they are too. So a lot of these Chancellor films could who knows, but their trailers are so good. Almost every single one has suckered me in for some reason or another.
Right. And they all feature a lot of the same library music, and it was just great.
The same narrator, the same library music.
Yeah. So I'm like, this is I'm at home with Chancellor.
I would kill to know. That's one of those things where I would kill to know who they hired to cut all their trailers and stuff. That's one of those very niche things. I just would love to. I'd love to know because I want to see the rest of his work.
I know. Yeah.
All right.
More research needed.
It's your Mahon, Alex. You blew your Mahon wad early. All right.
Damn.
That's all good. It's worth it. It's worth it for Knockers.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right. Casey, what you got?
All right. My number 9 is my Sandy Johnson, which is Justine, the erotic excitement of evil.
The erotic excitement of evil. Ripped from the pages of the infamous Marquis de Sade's Twisted... Justine is a movie you will always remember. Justine, the erotic. Justine, the exciting. Justine, the evil will leave you gasping. Justine, who will use anyone she can to climb out of the slums of Puerto Rico. A girl who learns what it means to be a woman. How tender love can be bitter revenge. Justine, twisting men's passions into brutal savagery. The willing female who lets nothing stand in her way. Who will use any man, any woman, to further her own desires. What man could deny her? What man could possess her? What man could not want her?
So this is obviously it's Peggy Sarno is the title character, which is incredible. So it is, I think, the earliest adaptation of the Justine. Marquis de Sade's adaptation. Yeah, his book Justine. So I will read the AFI catalog synopsis. So sisters Justine and Juliet live in a Puerto Rican slum and survive by taking menial jobs. Justine, ambitious and jealous, is enraged by the mistaken thought that her first boyfriend, Felipe, has approached the innocent Juliet. Justine sells her victimized sister to a gang of hoodlums who rape her. Justine goes to New York to seek money and power. She grows wealthy as the mistress of powerful men, and she eventually returns to Puerto Rico with her latest lover. Justine is infuriated by her sister's perpetual innocence when she sees Juliet again, now with a child as a result of the rape. She again sells Juliet, this time to the syndicate run by her lover. The battle between good and evil climaxes with a violent and bloody confrontation. And shot in Puerto Rico. Don't know how that happened, but yeah, it's Sandy Johnson. And as we discussed offline, really tough to pick a Sandy Johnson movie for this list because we only have 2.5 of them available. Yep. We have Beautiful, Bloody and the Bear, we have Teenage Gang Debs, and then we have a reel or two of Misconduct, which is the Louis Waldron movie, which is on Twisted Sex Volume 25. So if you want to see what is existing of that we know of, it's on that volume. Very good looking guy. He was in Nudes on Tiger Reef and I think Hot Nights on the Camera, no, maybe Less in the Flesh, I think, for Tony Orlando, and then stepped behind the camera and did a bunch of directing. He then ran Chancellor Films after Harold Sugarman departed around 1967, and he is supposed to have died, and I have not been able to find confirmation of that. I'm still looking, because I think everyone has acknowledged that he died pretty early. The script, Eugene Price wrote it. He wrote also Infidelity American Style, The Game People Play, and the singles for Sandy. And then he wrote 2 movies for John Avildsen. He did Guess What We Learned in School Today, which is great. That's a really good early Avildsen movie. And then he wrote a movie called The Stoolie. And then he went into writing TV shows and movies, and he won a Daytime Emmy for Ryan's Hope in 1983. So from this Marquis de Sade adaptation, he went on to win an Emmy. Cinematographer is Harry Petrasek, aka Harry August, and he was another one who worked with Sandy and Jerry Denby on a lot of stuff. He was also assistant camera on Girl from SIN and Smoke and Flesh, and then he directed a movie for Chelly Films called Shootout at Beaver Falls, which is lost, and there's no trailer for that either, so I don't know what that is. There's only 3 cast members that we know of for this, just that I know of, which is Peggy Steffens under her real name as Justine. And the way this plot description describes her, I know that she tore into this role. And that's why I had to pick this, because yes, she played Honey. Yes, she was in all this other stuff that's lost. I have to see her as Justine, because I know that she took that role with everything she had and made that movie her bitch. I know it. So I'm dying to see this movie, as I am with all of these. But like, as a diehard Peggy Steffens person, I think this is probably her best movie, and we have no access to it.
Can't see it. Yeah.
Lydia Caldwell plays Juliet. Have no idea who that is. And then Philip Dross was also the assistant director. He plays Felipe. And then he also worked with Sandy on the crew of the singles and Game People Play. And that's kind of all we know about this. The trailer is fantastic. I don't have any press material on it. I think, Alex, you do, which I'm very envious of.
No, I don't. I was just about to quickly add. I quickly pulled out the Echo interview with C. Davis Smith to add a little bit about Sandy. This was done. This interview came out. Also, he has a speaking role in Sexploiters, where he does a little accent.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
which is
he has a speaking role in
Al Rubin and Jerry Denby. Yeah, that
yeah.
Group of
So
people.
you can hear him, because according to Smith on that, he did kind of want to be an actor. He doesn't have an actual accent in real life. He's doing a pretty convincing one in that one. He sells his part pretty damn well. So this was done because this brings up his death. This interview from 1996.
Real quick though, he's in Hot Nights on Campus too. He talks in that one too.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So Sandy eventually moved to Chicago about 15 years ago. This is Smith. He was killed on his way to work. Some guy was backing up the exit ramp as Sandy was coming off. Like he was just accidentally killed.
That's right. For some reason, I confused that with Tony Orlando. I thought that's how Tony Orlando died.
No, Tony was sick. Yeah. Tony had like some, I can't remember what he had. He got sick.
I don't remember.
Died on the operating table. Yeah.
Yeah, I confused the two because I remember, it was the Johnson thing kind of reminded me of also Eric Boyer died in a similar way years later. But
so that's the most anger-inducing. He was just accidentally killed one day.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And again,
good-looking guy. I thought he was very attractive in Nudes on Tiger Reef. I was like, take your clothes off. I don't think he does. Right?
And our number one answer to what happened to the Chancellor catalog as well, because he took it.
You're going to destroy me. Oh yes, exactly.
Yeah,
right.
like the Sugarmans wouldn't know anything. Like the Sugarman family wouldn't if they're around, because it was sold to Sandy.
Yeah. So
then I need to research that. Then see if what was left behind.
It's funny to me that you mentioned, Casey, that this is an early adaptation of de Sade's Justine, which it is. But it's funny that sexploitation was kind of the first to adapt a lot of these like erotic novels. Like they did the same thing with I just watched The Venus and Furs, and they were the first one for that as well.
Yeah.
But I'm a big Justine fan, so I have like a little letterbox list of all the Justine adaptations. Right. And the other funny connection is Jess Franco, Spanish director. He also did a Justine adaptation right after this. He also did a Venus and Furs adaptation right after the sexploitation version.
Yeah. Right.
So it's like, I wonder if he had his ear to the ground, like he was taking note of these other films that were adapting it? Or I mean, there was just something in the waters, in the air at that time where everybody was adapting all these erotic novels, but still, it's just funny coincidence that Franco adapted both of them.
I wonder if that could have been also possibly, this possibly might not have been conscious, but because they could have been, they're classic literature, they could be defensible
There's
as
something
well.
classy,
because
right?
it was the legalization of classic erotic literature that began to break down, especially in like with sleaze books and things, literary censorship, especially in the early 60s. So like in terms of cultural zeitgeist, they were pretty prevalent around at that time, also like Lolita and all those other ones, Tropic of Cancers. So then you have like
Ladies Lover, things like that.
Exactly. So you have
Fanny Hill,
different allusions.
Fanny
Hill was like the biggest one. Fanny Hill was huge and stuff.
It's very interesting thinking about that connection to like erotic literature, because the battles for censorship in sexploitation, exploitation film, and in literature are really very parallel.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of similar players in that. Like Rotsler was connected to Greenleaf, and Greenleaf went to a lot lot of legal problems.
Oh, Greenleaf was one of the first ones. Yeah,
right,
Greenleaf
exactly. So it's like everyone's connected, you know. Yeah, but that's it. That's my number 9.
My number 8 is Love Thy Neighbor and His Wife, 1970. We're going into 70 here, ladies.
Yeah.
Directed by Byron Mabe.
Love thy neighbor and his wife, and covet not thy neighbor's ass.
These are the weekenders. They believe that now is the time for all men, good and otherwise, and women, to come and party. And you, if you are over 18 years of age, are invited to watch. For this is a blow-by-blow description of the degeneration.
Maybe. I think Casey knows a little bit more about this.
I think it's supposed to be I think it's a co-director. Is it not? I have the poster.
Yeah, Lee Raymond is also he's also listed, but and this is
which surprised me, but maybe not. Mm-hmm. Right.
This is, I think, the first color one we've talked about. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty long trailer, if I remember correctly, when I just watched it.
Almost 6 minutes.
It's a Friedman one. It's a Friedman release. So it goes on.
It has Miss Ushi Dygard in it. And I don't really know who else. I couldn't really pick out a lot of the other actors in it, but it looks like a pretty sleazy, grindhousey good time. I don't know. I'm a kind of a minor Byron Mabe fan, so this is one of his only, I think, lost films. And it looks pretty different than a lot of his other stuff. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm really curious about this one. It looks so the trailer looks borderline hardcore at times. So
very graphic.
Yeah. This is 1970.
Is it the only major Lost Entertainment Ventures title? So like it's of the Friedman titles, that's one that like got reissued and played a ton, and the fact that there's nothing left on it is very surprising because we have at least prints on every other EVI title, I think.
To the point that I thought that your list was like incorrect, and I just had to go on to like something weird to find it. I was like, I think Casey just accidentally did like listed it. And
well, because I thought, there's no way that I should be able to see this, right? And I don't know what happened there.
So you can only hope that it could have gotten slightly better foreign sales if Friedman also handled it foreign.
That's very true.
The same campaign and everything. Again, unfortunately, I only know it also played in Canada, and I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it's the same distributor as Lash of Lust, but whoever the distributor of Lash of Lust up here already confirmed that he got rid of everything that he had for a lot of these films, like Harry Novak stuff and things like that. So no, we can at least hope that it could be somewhere else in Europe based on Friedman's connections, depending on the deal. If you only had it for North America, who knows if you only had it for North America or internationally. That's probably also, again, the only reason.
Right? Because at that time, Byron Mabe had totally moved on because he was basically fired on the set of Space Thing because he didn't want to do sex movies anymore. So the fact that he kind of lumbered back into this with potentially Lee Raymond, who then did Jekyll and Hyde, is very weird, and so I think they did it independently, and then it was picked up by Friedman, I believe.
I think he had to, because he pretty much did seem like he kind of couldn't go anywhere. He started slumming around again in sexploitation with, again, the smaller desert ones like Bushwhacker Man-Ate Girls,
Right.
and then I guess we'll do something a little bit better. I'm kind of stuck, like, you know, maybe he was broke and needed to make some money. Or something like that. Who knows? He needed to make a sex film. Needs to make some.
It has
product.
2 locations, 3 locations. Like there's a boat out on like a lake.
Yeah.
There's a house somewhere,
which would make sense because Man-Ate Girls. The main set piece of expensive things for Man-Ate Girls is also a boat. I wonder if he just knew someone who had one. Like, can I use your boat? Yeah, maybe he's a little too spent.
Maybe he had the money. Yeah,
there's a dune buggy. There's also a dune buggy in the trailer.
Oh, yeah,
that's right. It kind of reminds me of Acid Eaters in that way a little bit, where it's like once again we're focusing on these 2 couples, these out in the desert, or out in the middle of nowhere instead of in civilization.
Well, in the trailer and the one sheet's all like they emphasize the degeneration,
right?
Which is, I don't really know what does the D stand for? Degenerate?
Oh yeah, it's the degeneration. Yeah, that's what it is.
Degeneration as well.
What'd you say, Alex?
I think
the dick generation.
Are you being funny? Or
no, it could also be D-generation. Who knows?
I think it's
I read into
degeneration.
it. Possibly.
Does my poster say that? Let me see. Oh yeah, a blow-by-blow description of the degeneration filmed at a swapping center.
Yeah, what the heck is a swapping center?
I don't know, but it says it's a Rama production, and that must So I have this thing.
I wonder if it's one of those weird like encounter group type of things that pop up in other ones.
There are a lot of those around that time. Yes, exactly. Including a few nominations for this list. There were a few encounter group ones.
Yeah, so I assume that because the Suckers was the same way, where the Suckers was just found at a drive-in, just an odd print. Again, I just assume that Friedman, of course, being the right man, unlike a lot of these other peoples, gave Byron back the movie after their deal was up.
Right.
That's so possible. Whoever
Red, White, and Blue were the same. That's true.
Yeah. Like the wrestler, I think he eventually handed it back. Like he was unfortunately
he wasn't
Friedman was pretty good at that way. Yeah, unfortunately, Friedman was a little too much of a gentleman and gave and handed.
That's what happens when you're a good guy in this business. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so it is the only one I want to say, besides maybe one short film called Strip Poker is lost that Friedman did. But otherwise, I think this is it.
Wow. That's a good pick, Gentry.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to say about the trailer is it features a looks like a small bullet vibrator, which was pretty strong imagery for the time too. Where we've moved on from the Joe Sarno massage vibrator he brought over from Sweden, and we've got a legit they show a legit vibrator in this trailer. So this one looks wild. I hope it turns out. Anything else? Should we move on to Alex's pick,
which is my Sandy Johnson?
All right.
Which is going to be the game people play, or of course, or which is also normally messed up as kind of like Don't Go in the Woods Alone. It's also misinterpreted as Sex is the Game People Play.
Sex is the game. Sex is the game people play. For swingers are made, not born. Sex is the game people play.
Now, do I look so sinful, Joe? What is a sin, Joe? Is it a sin to feel?
These are the young marrieds, trapped in a routine existence, the bored, the frustrated, the unsatisfied. Until a friendly game of cards provides an outlet for their suppressed passions. Just a friendly game of poker, strip poker.
Prissy, would you like to pay off part of what you owe me?
How? He has quite an imagination.
Prissy, will you come upstairs with me a few minutes?
Why?
To talk this over, that's all. Come on. Now.
I will not.
You won't pay?
How can we play if we're not even?
Do you want me to take off my clothes?
Why not?
And this one looks like an interesting couples infidelity chamber piece drama. Unfortunately, AFI did not have a very good synopsis. It mostly culminates in a bunch of couples who seem to be having their own sort of sexual dysfunction, who get together one night at one of their houses, and for some odd reason, despite the fact the wives are objecting to this, but the 4 men in the group decide to begin playing poker, which slowly degenerates into strip poker and other sexual games as the night goes on. And as the trailer shows, there seems to be a bunch of tension between the couples slowly beginning to bubble to the surface as the game goes on, which is what really enticed me with this one. It looks like there's a bit more than meets the eye to this movie. It looks like kind of like in terms of like sharpness, in terms of direction, drama, what I imagine The Vixens could have also kind of been like. Mm-hmm. It also, of course, has my absolute Milligan favorite, who's also in The Vixens, and Linden. And also someone who I always love to see in speaking roles. And again, this one does have actual live sync dialogue. It looks pretty well shot too. It looks pretty well lit. Is Cherry Winters, who I'm always dying to see more of as well.
Yeah, she's kind of a Sarno favorite for a bit there, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yes. Yeah,
so that's how I found out she passed, actually, because Distripix had a list of cast members for one of the Sarno movies with their social security numbers, including Janet Banzit. And that's how I found that Janet Banzit is not dead, but Cherie Winters is dead, because Social Security Death Index let me confirm that she passed away.
Which is probably the greatest, I'd argue that's like the greatest historical correction in sexploitation cinema history, that Janet Banzit didn't probably kill herself, because that's
her
always
Social
really
Security number is still active, and it is hers because it was assigned in Texas, which is where she's from.
Is fantastic. You always hated to hear that. Always hated to hear that so much that her career take a bad turn. So
I know, but yeah, Cherie Winters. It was in I think she passed in 2001 or 2002, I believe.
Yeah, so again, it's another Chancellor one. So again, that's why it's lost. Again, it just looks good. I love my dark little melodramas. So this was, of course, an immediate for me. The second it started to look like husbands were turning against wives and things like that. In the trailer, I was all for this. And it's not that long too. I don't even think it reaches 70 minutes.
Yeah,
Cherry Winters was good in Sarno's Passion in Hot Hollows. That's the only one that I remember. She had like a lead.
Oh, incredible good in that one.
She's good in The Procurer as well. Like she's typically pretty good.
Yeah, she's okay
when she's given something to do.
Exactly. Like Fly Now, Pay Later. She tries her best. She's trying her best with the material.
That's tough all around, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, I love Fly Now, Pay Later, but I
do too. But in terms of performances, you get what Yeah.
Like
it's not the greatest.
Like even I don't know what was wrong with her eyebrows in that one too. Like just everyone did not seem to be on their A game.
No. Well, also in this one is Eileen Dietz in her other Sandy Johnson movie. And when I met her at Cinema Wasteland and we talked about Teenage Gang Devs, I said, "Oh yeah, you were also in The Game People Play." For Sandy Johnson. She said, "Oh yeah, because Gang Debs was first, and then I did this one." And I was like, "Well, it was like a sexploitation movie. Was it like uncomfortable for you?" And she said, "No, there wasn't that much nudity that my character had to do. It wasn't." And I was like, "Well, it's lost, so nobody can see it except for the trailer." And she's like, oh, "Okay, I guess that's kind of a relief."
Yeah, there's not much, and there's interesting stuff. Like the trailer shows that one of them is a sleazy photographer, one of the husbands in the couple, and things like that. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, now that I think about it, even the trailer's not too heavy on nudity.
Not really.
Now that I'm thinking back of it, you just see.
Which makes me think it is more of like a Sarno style melodrama, which is that. Listen, Sarno style melodrama in black and white New York. I'm there.
Yeah,
I'm there.
At all.
He does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's my nourishment. Just give me actors trying to act, given a script. In a New York apartment in black and white.
Give me a room of a bunch of heterosexuals just like not having a good time with each other and slowly falling apart.
That's why you like the Milligan so much. Oh, right.
Oh,
lot of heterosexuals being unhappy.
I like the one sheet for this one where it's like, what do you call that, Alex? Where it's like those cutouts. It's like the cutout images just like pasted on an orange background.
Very haphazardly,
you know what I'm talking about?
Too. Yeah, very
Yes.
haphazardly. Like just like 2 or
Right.
3 images kind of like smacked on. Like,
It's like-
oh, okay. Like this is only just a step above a Nick Millard poster for the most part.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I
wow.
always wonder who was doing Chancellor's campaigns because
Like
like
collage
they're
style,
not
yeah.
always
Mhm.
consistent. Like Scarf of Mist, Thigh of Satin's campaign is not too good compared to like
No.
Ride the Wild Pink Horse.
No, yeah.
It's another one with it was Chancellor and JER. I'm like, God, what agencies were you using? Because you seem like you bounced between 2 or 3
No.
different people to design your one sheets.
Right.
Your
Yeah, because I don't think they
campaigns
had
throughout your life.
in-house at that point. Yeah.
I don't think so because whoever was designing them did I think Barry Mahon also knew them because they also designed some of the. It looks like they designed like 1 or 2 of his ones that went to SAC Amusement as
Right.
well. It looks like they had someone
Yeah.
independent, possibly in New York that they were just tapping into.
Right.
Like some of these guys did. But yeah, you're right, Gentry. That's partially why I've never, really prioritized getting too much paper from this, unless it's the press book. I'm like, God, I'm never going to hang that up.
All right, Casey, you got number 8
All right.
for us.
My number 8 is my Jerry Denby pick. Okay. And there were several Jerry Denby picks to choose from. And I had to pick Whip's Women, which I have the press book for, which I love, and which also, for our interest, if you look at the back, I don't know if you probably can't see through. It says distributed by Chelly Films Inc., but it's a sticker that goes over distributed by CIP Limited. So it was originally supposed to be distributed by CIP before CIP went under when Denby and Johnson and Smith split.
If your name is Johnny Whip, you need a lot of women, each of them chosen to satisfy a particular desire.
Carol was one of the first. Johnny owned her. She was his property.
Johnny and his women were the talk of Hollywood.
There aren't many guys, even in Hollywood, who would keep all their women under one roof. Johnny kept them. Johnny owned them.
Ellen was one of Johnny's women, his play toy. A little girl with a woman's body. A little girl who was anxious to learn everything Johnny could teach her.
A lot of people suspected what went on in Johnny's place. But Maxwell, Johnny's chauffeur, really knew. After all, he helped keep Johnny's girls in line.
So the interesting thing about this one is it was shot in California. And so my question immediately is, did Denby actually go to California, or was this a pickup that he slapped his name on? So I will read part of the synopsis from the press book. Okay. Johnny Whip, an extremely rich lecher who owns the Classic Cat nightclub, is found dead. He's floating face down in his swimming pool with a silver corkscrew in his throat. 4 women were living with Johnny Whip in his luxurious home, and all were at the wild party where he was killed. Why didn't they see it? Police Detective Parker questions the 4 to see what kind of a man Johnny Whip was and to find out who killed Johnny Whip. And then it goes through the press book of all these 4 women that are the suspects. So Sally was an exotic dancer. Whip and his henchmen drag her to a tattoo parlor, and from then on, she was property of John Whip. So she's tattooed with property of John Whip on it. Forces her to massage him with a vibrator while the housekeeper takes videotapes of their exotic activities. I thought that was interesting that there was actually a video camera in this that early in 1967 in this home. There is a lot of other stuff, but it really kind of reminded me, it sounded like Brick Dollhouse, where there's a murder and it kind of becomes kind of an Agatha Christie kind of thing, where it's like, okay, who killed this dirty pervert? And there's a great collection of suspects.
The tone is pretty light in Brick Dollhouse, though, right?
Yeah, well, this could be too. I mean,
It
looks
could
be. We only can go from the trailer. It has Kara Peters in it, who I love, the Miss Drag Queen makeup herself. And her then boyfriend, Steve Vincent, is also in it. He plays the cop. But the real surprise from the trailer, it's not in the AFI catalog and it's not on the IMDb, is the chauffeur, who's a real sleazeball, is Vincent Barbie, who is a very popular character actor. I think you probably remember him as the assistant in Astro Zombies. He has played all sorts of really shifty, like heavy roles. Capri is she's a regular My Tam girl. Capri, she's the one who gets tattooed in the trailer. The trailer is narrated by Joel Holt, and the film is edited in New York by Kemper Peacock. So the question is, was it shot by Denby out in California and brought back to New York, or was it bought? Was it filmed, purchased, and then shelved, and then he bought it and then cut it together in New York from the footage? That's the reason I had to pick this one, because I was just like, there's too many unanswered questions, and so that's why it's the top of my list for the Jerry Denbys.
Well, also, isn't Harvey Shane also in it?
Yes, Harvey Shane is Johnny Whip.
Yeah,
so
yes, let's also forget that.
Good casting, because you know what? I would do anything Johnny Whip asked me to if he looked like if he was Foreman Shane. Anything you want. Yes.
Okay, so this is.
You want me to get the property tattoo? I'll do it.
So this is attractive Harvey Shane, not Harvey Shane from what was it?
Not Sassy Sue. No,
Sassy Sue.
This is
not floor wipe Harvey.
This is peak Foreman Shane. This is peak Harvey. Like, he's best looking. He has like a bathtub scene with these women. I think he does nudity in it, but yeah, I mean, it just sounds like a ton of fun. The title's great, and this was another one. It was Chelly Films, not Chancellor Films. And unfortunately, I think with the Chelly Films, those, I don't think there's anything left for those, because I know that Vinegar Syndrome has been dealing with her son-in-law, Don Walters, who married her daughter, Bondi, and they were in Variety Films. And so the Variety Films library was available, and so Vinegar Syndrome has access to that library. The Chelly Films library, on the other hand, I don't think they have anything for those, because I remember specifically asking, can you please check to see if they have anything for the Chelly Film stuff? Same. And the answer was like, it was very similar to the Michigan stuff. It's like, well, why would we have this black and white shit? No.
Mm-hmm. However,
why would we hold on to that?
I am pleased to say that like Doris Wishman's lost cut of A Night to Dismember, one sole VHS copy of this exists.
What? How?
Shane himself apparently has a copy on VHS.
Damn.
I don't know if it's been transferred yet. I just heard when discussing with someone else who's spoken to him about lost films and things.
Damn.
So it is in like safe somewhat hands. It's not out there in the ether. So fingers crossed that one day someone who has the capabilities to transfer the tape does, so we can get some sort of glimpse of it at the very least.
That would be
for
great.
some odd reason. Yeah, oddly enough, I don't know why. I have no idea why. I was just only told that, like, Whips Women, I mean, like, kind of surfaced as in it's on tape. It's just there's no film for it. Kind of like Gary Graver's The Embracers and things like that. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Well, maybe that's who should be doing it. Maybe we can get Will Sloan to put that out on on his DVD label.
So Harvey Shane for sure has it, like, in his possession.
I don't know if it was him, but I think
I can't think of anyone else who would.
Yeah. I think it was Harvey Shane. I'm pretty sure it's Harvey Shane. This was a while ago. But no, a VHS does exist. At least a tape with the label.
I mean,
women.
Transferring a VHS that's the easy part. It's just getting it.
It would have to be probably be best as like an extra of something that is film that Harvey is in.
Yeah, exactly. There's a place for it in the world.
Absolutely.
There's so many connections. Yeah, with this film, you could slap that as an extra on something down the road. Yeah, easy.
Right. Actually, extra on Space Thing, because Kara Peters and Steve Vincent.
Yeah,
you're very right. Yes, yeah,
they're both in that.
If one of those apostles, Lady Godiva Rides ever comes out.
Well, Vinegar Syndrome has those too. Exactly. Well, this is exciting. Okay, well, then we're going to put an asterisk on that one. On that one.
Hey, we're figuring out. Yeah, there's a few that have some hope.
Okay, good. So this isn't all going to be depressing. Yeah. Great. Okay, good.
No. This is why we're calling this one Lost in Limbo. Some do exist. They're just stuck in limbo.
Exactly.
Unavailable to see yet.
Right.
All right.
Gentry, what is
my
your
number 7? is Come Ride the Wild Pink Horse.
They ride the wild pink horse.
We have company. I don't know what I'm doing here. I must be crazy. Would you like to go to the other side of the curtain with me and Walter? Not particularly. But I would like to go with Seth and you.
Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to do it.
Yes.
This might be, I don't know, maybe speaking for myself, but might be the Sarno, the missing Sarno that is, I mean, there's several of them, but it's a hard pick, but I think this is probably the one that I want to see the most.
Yeah.
Mainly because, well, Peggy Steffens, of course, but also the trailer makes it look like kind of a companion piece to his amazing Red Roses of Passion. You know, it looks like there's like a curtain, something secrets behind the curtain. And Patty McNair's there, Peggy's there, and then we also have Sheila Britt. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say. It just looks like 5-star Sarno, peak Sarno. Yeah. Go, Alex.
It does.
I can tell you exactly what this is about because this is another one I'm also kind of obsessed with. Yeah. So Patty and Peggy play two bored housewives who decide to go into the city for a day of shopping and going around stuff. Peggy is the more adventurous one. Patty's more conservative. Eventually, at one point,
of course.
Yeah. So through one or two things, they first would go to a bar and hook up with these two guys, though Patty doesn't go all the way. Of course, she gets scared and leaves. She goes back to the bar and meets a guitar player whose name I'm forgetting right now, but y'all will recognize his face. Who's in a bunch of sexploitation films. Yeah, I'm completely forgetting who he is right now.
Sorry, I'm distracted by Gretchen. Sorry.
There's Gretchen, yeah.
I'm distracted by Gretchen and that little cute Marlo Thomas hairdo.
So he brings Patty to this little artist commune that he's a part of, run by, and who Peggy then also gets involved with. So Patty becomes interested in the leader of this group to the point that she leaves home one night with the absolute compulsion to go and have sex with him. And his girlfriend in this is Sheila Britt. Now, Peggy and Patty begin to get involved in group things with this group. I think that's the whole idea of, do you want to come to the other side of the curtain with me and so and so? But so then Sheila starts getting jealous of Patty's relationship with her man. So she tries to extort money out of the women, knowing that they won't be able to pay. So Patty leaves, but Patty is now crazy and sex starved. So she now starts to have all sorts of affairs with every man in her neighborhood, pretty much ruining every marriage around her, to the point that she even ruins her Peggy's marriage. Peggy walks in on Patty and her man getting at it. The leader of this group is now becoming incredibly depressed with Patty's loss, and the whole group is falling apart. So Sheila tries to go back to her to get her to come back, and Patty's like, no, absolutely not. And it ends on the grim note where the man, this despondent artist himself, goes to her house and tries to get her back. And she looks at him with disdain and simply says, "Don't come back till you've gotten yourself a suit, a tie, and a job." And meanwhile, while he's there, as he leaves, there's one of her paramours that she's about to have it with, sees this whole thing, and he goes, "Oh, who's that?" And she has the final line of that once a long, long time ago, that man was a great artist, but too bad, now he's gone downhill. He's a transient, a bum. And with a wry smile, she climbs into her bed with her newest mate.
Wow.
So this is really a vehicle where Patty becomes a real evil bitch. For the most part. The only one I can think of where Patty gets to just become, an absolutely
that's true. That's very atypical for her.
Yeah, no.
Which I
Normally,
love.
normally
She
she's not.
was
So it's great because
one of the
she
most
has
diverse of those actresses. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So she does have the capabilities to do it. And again, Peggy's in it. Gretchen Rudolph is in it. There's a bunch of really great people involved.
Justin Todd is in it too, I think.
He plays.
And then Michael Alimo.
Yeah, I think he's Patty's wife in this one.
There's so many names listed. I'm curious how much screen time some of them get. Yeah.
It is how long? 86 minutes. It's you know, it's a busy one. It keeps pretty busy. And I'm very curious as to just to see the background, just to see where this was shot, because they did seemingly hire an artist to do some paintings for this. And in one of these paintings I noticed, I'll show you the example first. In the painting in the background, you see this naked woman here?
Mm-hmm.
That's a still swiped from Surf Tide 77.
Oh.
So I'm very curious if any other paintings in the background of the art commune are also lifted from sexploitation stills.
Well, that's funny because Surf Tide is kind of a film noir, nudie sort of. And Ride the Pink Horse, the original Ride the Pink Horse, the Robert Montgomery film, is a film noir.
Yeah.
So I wonder how much film noir elements are in this Sarno movie.
It does look like
the trailer. It seems like a lot.
Drama. Yeah. I will also say, like, the artist could have also just picked up a smutty magazine as inspiration. Exactly. Like half of these like little artist swipes, I'm like, they probably just went to an adult bookstore and was like, hey, let me grab one or two examples to like lift it from.
Yeah.
So I don't think there was more. I don't exactly think Sarno was like, you know what? I just saw Surf Tide at the World Fair. We got a reference to it.
Yeah.
Right.
On that note, what do you think the title is in reference to? The Pink Horse.
I mean, it seems like a reference to that film, but I feel like that film had a reference that I'm not aware of. Wasn't it based on a book?
Yeah, I don't know
Wild Pink Horse?
much about Ride the Pink Horse. Is the Robert
the
Montgomery
original
film?
The original Ride the Pink. It's just Ride the Pink Horse, right?
Well, it also makes me wonder if it starts about shopping. Like maybe there's some toy that they see, and that's something that's involved in the plot, like a pink riding horse. You don't see any pictures of horses in their press book.
I don't know if it's literal.
I've seen multiple stills for this because it was also in one of the Adam Film Quarterlies. And actually, Adam Film Quarterly, there's an issue of that has color shots from this movie. Interestingly enough, someone was shooting color stills on set for it, but I don't think so. Again, I think it's probably just a title because
it's a good sexploitation title.
Yeah, it has it has erotic dancing, it has painting, it has, again, Bruce Sparks' fantastic cinematography. As usual, it's a beautiful looking film, but I see any reference or allusions to like an actual hobby horse, kind of like the one that they had later on, because they did have that horse in one of their 70s ones. Apparently, this was a strong enough title that I've seen one or two one sheets that has a snipe over it, but in the same font of it being called Thrill Hungry instead. So I think there also might have been some title problems because I've seen an official like snipe of Thrill Hungry over one or two one sheets of it too.
Okay.
Which kind of makes sense because Wild Pink Horse, you can start thinking things.
Yeah, it's just a great title. What can you say?
Very good title. I think it is only one of two Sarnos with no elements that we know of, correct? Because Scarf of Mist Thigh of Satin has screened. And it is in Germany. And then Bed of Violence and this, I think, are the only two that we don't have any evidence of existing. Is that correct?
Yes, because like I said, I do not count Flash of Lust. Exactly.
It feels good to know because it's like, think about where we were 5-10 years ago. So many movies are like, we'll never see Naked Fog. We'll never see all this other stuff. And then miraculously, Love Rebellion and this stuff keeps popping up. So the fact that we're only down to like 2 Sarnos is pretty great when you think about it.
You're right. Yeah.
Sir Alex.
It's me. Yeah. I think it's me.
Number 7.
This one I have is kind of like sexploitation light / adjacent in a way, like how some of these Twisted Sex trailers are. If anyone's also curious, we are going off of the Twisted Sex compilations mostly, which are available on Film Pix. if some of you want to seek some of these titles out to see some samples, they aren't on very like rare releases. Just get a Cult Pick subscription and you could see most of these samples. Right. This is one that, again, I would have picked something else from him, but this is the one trailer that exists. Well, technically another one, but it's really hard to make out, is L.Q. Jones and George Gunter's The Devil's Bedroom. Mm-hmm. Of course, I had to weasel George Gunter into there. I had to.
Well, because there's no other way. There's no other trailer really for his stuff, is there?
There's only one for Rosemary is Pregnant. Which is kind of difficult to access. Yeah, the one that I try to get my hands on, like the physical elements for. Yeah, no. Devil's Bedroom is the only one we have the most available trailer for. I can send you the trailer for Rosemary. I think I sent it to you, Gentry. I always try and get people to see that trailer. It's insane.
And I'm just like, because it's insane. I've seen it, and I'm like, I don't need to see this. I'm good.
Tell me about need to see it. Tell me about this LQ Jones guy. I don't know anything about him.
Fascinating.
Oh my god, LQ Jones was a fascinating character actor. Yeah, no, LQ Jones was a fascinating character actor who I think got a start in. I have no idea how he got to Texas and got involved with George. Let's just say that. Because I thought most of his career was out in Hollywood, mostly started in B westerns, until this being his first production, which did also star quite a few folks who had done a lot of westerns earlier as well. People like John Lepton and Dick Jones. I don't know if Valerie Allen was in any, but she was also in a lot of Hollywood B product as well too. He went on to do some great stuff. He did The Witchmaker. He did so incredible. His most penultimate is Boy and His Dog, the adaptation of the Harlan Ellison book. Which, fascinatingly enough, there is a moment in that movie where they watch footage from old dirty films. And it's a compilation of Gunter clips, which is insane. Fistful of Rawhides in there, Devil's Bedroom, Old Man's Bride shots I recognize. Oddly enough, I can send you the clips of that too. I spliced it.
I saw Boy and His Dog a long time ago, but it's coming back to me now. That was him. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, and so then he became a decently well-known character actor and only passed away. This is one of those guys where I was just making the motions to try and get to him, and he died like 2 years ago or something like that. Because
the best of us.
He is the best connection to find out more about George Gunter. Gunter had been in the beginning in the 50s. He initially was a radio announcer and engineer for a local station in the Cherokee County, where he met a few people who would become his partners, like Ralph G. Edwards, he met while doing radio, who would then become his business partner in the Gunter Productions endeavor. For whatever reason, he got the film bug in the early 60s. And,
it happens.
And then collaborated with this production, with LQ Jones. Shot as The Big Thicket in 1962 around the Cherokee County area, starring a lot of locals. I think one of the initial premiere ads was like, it stars so many Cherokee County with all these people and things like that. And LQ has said one or two things about the film. One, hilariously, that their first cameraman he didn't realize the first cameraman was slightly nearsighted. So half of the film's footage was just a smidge out of focus. And then hilariously, because it's got a couple local articles, Gunter then turns around and credits himself as the man who shot the film. Which again, this is a film where you can also really see who the talent was. Hate to say it, Georgie boy, but his films immediately go down severely in quality after this one.
You don't say.
Yeah. This one is shot in color, and this one isn't. This one is exploitation-y. This is a film that concerns
like a mob, right?
What happens is...
I think it's a man false accused of rape or something. Yeah.
So what happens is, Norm can't convince his brother Jim to sell his ranch, which is located in on oil-rich land. A woman who fails to win Jim's affections and wants to marry him, instead marries his brother Norm. then accuses Jim of rape. She then convinces Norm that Jim is mentally unstable and he is placed in an institution, but then escapes. Norm dies mysteriously in Jim's barn, and the townspeople turn against him. Worse, when Della is also found drowned in a well on the property. And so a mob ensues, and that's where, again, they're trying so hard to try and have some exploitation for this film. You can tell in the trailer because half of it's just like, we have an angry mob. We have a giant angry mob. It's the custom spectacle. So they trail him to this cave, which is apparently based on a local cave in the area, which was nicknamed the Devil's Bedroom. I don't know how true that is. Meanwhile, as it's happening, the sheriff of the town has determined that both deaths were actually accidental, but he arrives too late. They set him on fire and he burns to death, and then the town is left with the shared guilt of the fact that they killed an innocent man.
So what happened in the Devil's Bedroom? What happened in the cave? Is there
he was hiding out in the cave. He gets cornered in the cave, and they throw torches and gasoline inside and set him on fire. Okay. Yeah, no. He gets cornered into the cave.
I thought he was doing like some
in the midst of the chase
in there or something.
No, I don't think there's any sex in this.
There's a little bit of light hanky-panky. There's a bit of rolling around in a barn. I'm holding up a promo
right in the barn
that Gunter made up for it. No, but this is one that it was shot for. Reports vary. The lowest number I've heard is 17,000. The highest number I've read is 30,000. It looks like a pretty decent production, shot in color. And no, like I said, like it's one of those films that's kind of like exploitation light, but it was released. It got eventually, after one or two local dates in the Cherokee area, it went to Manson Film, who really did not seem to know what to do with this movie. Mm-hmm. So it was mostly relegated to sexploitation houses and exploitation light kind of theater. So it really didn't go anywhere. Like LQ Jones remembers like seeing it, like being like, yeah, my first film was, I walked down the street and I saw it at a porn theater being advertised, Devil's Bedroom. So
was that his original title? The Devil's Bedroom?
It was originally, I don't know. That is the title that I've seen in every single ad, even before Manson got it. Like this little promo that Gunter made up before it got sold to Manson is Devil's Bedroom as well. Because again, it was shot as The Big Thicket, which is just such a ghastly title.
Worst title.
Well, that does make it sound more like a Western film, like like LQ Jones was familiar with. So
it looks like it has like a couple like interesting like small towny locals kind of a thing. It looks like a bit of a character piece.
Like a rural
and things like that.
It looks more like an Ormond movie, honestly.
It looks like the best. It looks like the movie we wish Ormond had made,
like Girl from Tobacco Row, or like
but a lot more dark, but a lot darker and more hateful because there's dead people,
and less music,
drowned in barns and stuff. A lot less that. There's a bit of a there's a scuzzy little twangy harmonica tune that you can hear in the trailer and stuff. But again, like I said, I would have wanted to have picked another Gunter because after this, as I said, the quality continues fine with LQ Jones. So you could tell who was more so at the helm of this one. But this was producer George Gunter's big one, his first initial production. And then it immediately degenerates.
Tell me more about Gunter quick before we move on.
Gunter then went on to start making sexploitation films, mostly shot out of his little backwoods house in Jacksonville, Texas, where some of his other family lived. This seems like a very busy house because I know his brother and his brother's son also lived there at one point. A bunch of different people that he knew have lived there. Ralph G. Edwards, who then go on to, actually, here's the thing, was also living on the property at one point in the early 60s as well too. And then another co-conspirator of his was also living. There's also a little apartment building on the property that you can see that's still there. There's a little farmhouse and this weird taller building near the back. Dave Friedman apparently went out and visited him and found that he was, this was George for you, he was processing his film in his disused chicken coop. And I later find an ad that of him selling it off, that he had his own film printer as well on the property. So he was doing all of his own opticals, his own titles, I'm pretty sure. And George's films are, again, fascinating because of how insanely and disgustingly cheap they are. To the point that, like, if you've seen Old Man's Bride, it looks like it's from the 20s. To the point that, like, I kept on doing a double take whenever I kept on seeing, like, Patricia Moore come in with her very 60s hair, because it does not look like a film that is shot in 1967. Like, even the sex in it is barely there. Like, they're very awkwardly just kind of.
Well, you do get male nudity in that too.
And you do get male nudity. And that was a slightly common thing for George, because I know that it does also come up in Rosemary's Pregnant and Still a Virgin.
Right.
So George went off on his own and went with some of his own cronies. Like I said, Ralph G. Edwards, who plays the sadist in The Sadistic Lover, the one that we all really want to see, was involved in this Gunter Productions. Gunter is also self-distributed besides of course states' rights. He did all the campaigns. It looks like he did all the campaigns for them. And again, it self-distributed them. They're normally only around 60 minutes or so. And again, they're fascinating because of how insanely primitive they are. And as a result, George, of course, really couldn't make it too far in this marketplace. Old Man's Bride and Sadistic Lover got okay bookings for such tiny titles, but continuing on afterwards, like, things start to peter out after Myra's Bed. Titles like Rosemary's Pregnant, which has male nudity, Young Man's Bride, Fistful of Rawhide, which is kind of fascinating because that's directed by a man named Wilton G. Beggs, who then went on to own one or two adult theaters in the Texas area, and who was with George all the way into, actually earlier on with Old Man's Bride. Old Man's Bride is based on a short story Wilton originally wrote for a men's magazine, oddly enough. But again, George, of course, couldn't survive. Things like Fistful of Rawhide hardly played anywhere. That's 1970, and he's still, I think, that's apparently in color. I'd be surprised if the prints were in color for that. It's so primitive. And afterwards, of course, he couldn't survive. So he then tried to do other things in amusement sector. Lots of credit to Sean Langrick for finding out a lot of this information. The second I told him I was interested in George Gunter, it was boom, 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 in typical Sean fashion in terms of coming up with material. So he teams up with a man who was in Rosemary is Pregnant and Still a Virgin, named Jeff Ward, and they start trying to do all sorts of things in the Texas area. They tried to go into live theater where they at one point at least attempted to stage a production of Hair at one of Wilton Beggs' theaters, but there was some insurance problem with that. So actually the town ended up cutting off the power to the theater. And so there's a big legal kerfuffle with that. Then they also tried to get into very small kind of live amusements and like hosting like little like fairs in like mall parking lots and things, like just a couple of rinky-dink kiddie rides, which they also got sued for because a kid got injured on one of those rides. So then after this starts to fail, George actually goes back into broadcasting and starts buying up. He starts investing in TV receivers and things like that. That disperse larger signals into the local area. So he got into the behind the scenes of broadcast, and that's what he did for the rest of his career for the most part. Things take a very dark turn, however, in late 1980 into 1990, because me and Sean are finding all these like ads showing, Gunter is who resides at this his house is running, Gunter network or station or whatever, so on and so forth. So you can see quite a few ads of him like selling off equipment and things. So you can see they still living in the same old house all the way into 1991 or so, where he shot these films. His co-conspirator that I mentioned, Jeffrey Ward, was arrested in 1991 to 1992 for the sexual abuse of two minors. Police then go on to find extensive caches of child pornography on George Gunter's property where Jeff was staying. And George's address again, George, we've last find him resign at this address a year before this crime happened. George is not mentioned in anything regarding this crime, but he then completely disappears afterwards. And Jeffrey is he served his sentence. He's still imprisoned in some post-sentencing facility that he'll probably never get out of. And to this day, we do not know if George is alive or dead. We think we found his grave, but an existing photo of it taken in like 2020 shows no death date.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So it's a very big mystery. And again, we have this now we have this very dark, okay, where's George? And what did he know about?
Wow. Well, that's George Gunter.
That's George Gunter.
That's George Gunter.
There's our George Gunter episode.
That's it, pretty much.
Oh my God.
George I find infinitely fascinating, again, because like who else was doing all this on his farm? And also apparently not having a good eye for what the other competing product was.
Or what the guy was doing on his property.
Or that as well too. Like the only thing I'll say is that, he had his house and Jeff apparently was living in the separate apartment building on the property. That's where police found all the stuff. But again, it's a big old, really dirty, really nasty, gross, sticky question mark as to what happened with all that. That's kind of I had to take a break from researching this after all that
to go take a shower.
Mess. Yeah, a couple showers. But George is fascinating because again, here's a crazy little man who's just doing it all by himself, shuffling these prints around for these little grimy things. And again, of course he couldn't survive. But his films look infinitely fascinating. Like Fistful of Rawhide, it looks like they try and go full on Western for probably $1.98 or something like that. So again, any sort of scrap of a Gunter thing that surfaces, I'm like, just anything at all. I'll take anything. I'll take even like 30 seconds of something.
Should we kick it to Casey for number 7?
All right, number 7. Okay, my number 7 is a one-shot wonder called Come Play With Me from 1968 by a director named Nicholas Cosentino, and it's his only movie.
Please don't be afraid of me. There's nothing to be scared of. Just relax. Everything's going to be all right.
Come. Play with me. A study of the unnatural, the bizarre. A story of those who live on the outer fringes of society.
You won't fall in love with her. I might. Oh, you wouldn't. Would you care? I'd just die. You know I could never love anyone but you, silly. Now go get the strap and let's have it over with.
This is a motion picture of people that are immoral and of their very special desires. The sick who seek pleasures together or alone.
Okay, so AFI catalog description summary is Jan Cousins, brutally raped by her date, returns to boarding school, and there she is comforted by Clarice, a lesbian who seduces her. Jan seeks sexual fulfillment with her boyfriend Roger, but his strict upbringing has left him with a perverse need to be spanked. Roger appeals first to a prostitute, then to Clarice, and finally to Jan for a spanking, but she reacts with shock and tears. Her psychiatrist suggests that she find a normal man, but her successive dates are even more abnormal than Roger. She modifies her standards of normality and begins to accept all types of behavior. She does some research on flagellation, whips Roger, and finally achieves sexual satisfaction. So this, in the trailer, you can tell, like, this is the spanking movie. Like, this is the spanking movie. And it has a very interesting cast, a lot of familiar players in the New York scene. Rita Bennett has a very, substantial role as Clarice the lesbian. She's billed as Linda Lawrence in that. Roger is played by Jeremy Langham from Love, Rebellion, and Deep Inside. Christine Sibel has a role as another lesbian lover of Rita Bennett's, and we all know Christine Sibel from like Love Captive and Fly Now, Play Later.
This is New York, right?
It's new, yeah. So this is New York, yeah. It's Rita Bennett, so it's definitely New York. Yeah. Shot by William Riley, who also shot Teenage Gang Debs. And actually, the connections to Sandy Johnson continue because there's like cast members from the Vixens and the game people play. Michael Alimo is in it. George Loros, who I think a lot of people know now from The Sopranos, plays some guy named Biff. So I'm guessing he's one of these guys that either rapes the lead character or dates her and is abnormal.
Also, Janet's in it as well. Don't forget, Janet Van Zet's in it too.
Janet Van Zet is in that too. Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. Playing a character named Ruthie, which, yeah. So it was distributed by a company called Trans-Universe Pictures, which is interesting because it's tied to Jerry Balsam. I think it was a Jerry Balsam company, possibly. So it's formed by two guys named Tom Posen and Marty Lightstone. They merged with Jerry Balsam's original company, which is Avion Films, around 1963 to become Avion Trans-Universe Pictures, and they handle a lot of foreign imports. And they also distributed stuff like Gentlemen Prefer Nature Girls, and so they were, they had their hand in exploitation too. And AFI also credits Goldstone Film Enterprises, and I think the poster might have GFE on it. And Harry Goldstone was like a big New York-based distributor. He had offices. Goldstone had offices in Dallas and New Orleans, and they handled mostly imports, but also they handled stuff like Devil Rider and Pit Stop, and actually imports like Curse of the Devil, the Naschy movie. One thing I absolutely need, but it looks like it's very expensive, is Olympic International put out a photo reader novelization of this, paired with another movie called Julie, which is a color film, which I don't know what that is. But they released this photo novelization in 1968. And I don't know why. So Bill Rossler says he worked on a movie called Come Play With Me. It can't have been this one because
there's a lot.
He didn't work on this one. Yeah. So he's erroneously credited as still photographer on this. He was not the still photographer on this. Yeah, no, I'm hoping to see it. It looks like Rita Bennett has a really nice, meaty, bitchy role, which I like.
Yeah, her and Christine looks like they have a really fun little push and pull, consensually sadomasochistic relationship going on.
Exactly.
That they both derive something from. This is like the kind of like, abnormal sex can be okay. Because like the whole thing is that like
no, there's something wrong with that. It's very pro perversion. It's very pro deviance, so to speak. Yeah,
exactly. She just has to.
I'm into that.
And then everything else gets normal for her. They indulge in regular sex after that, and she reaches fulfillment. Just do this one little favor,
Yeah. And Nick Cosentino was a playwright who did a movie called a play called Woman in the Dark that was adapted into a movie in the 50s. So he wandered into this industry somehow and made this one movie. So I'm very intrigued, but especially because it is a one-shot movie. There's no other. He didn't do anything else. So I really want to know. And it's shot sync sound. It looks like it's shot really well by the same guy who did Teenage Gang Debs, which is very well shot. So yeah, it looks definitely like a better.
Seeing Janet Van Zet again makes me think: is she in the most lost sexploitation films of any other actress?
Probably. She might be the most prolific actress of that era because she just took any job.
Maybe that's why. Yeah, she's just the most prolific.
Oh yeah, Corporate Queen 2. I'm now thinking of. They're starting to reach me now.
Yeah.
Well, Julie's No Angel.
Julie's No Angel. She's in. Let's Play Doctor. I have a press book of her for that. I have
Death
so much stuff.
Oh yeah,
Death Playpen Girls. She's in. Yeah,
Sugar Daddy.
Oh yeah, Sugar Daddy
by Larry Crane.
Yeah. I mean, she's in a lot of missing stuff, and the question is whether it's even substantial roles for her or not. Because as we saw, we talked about Two Girls for a Madman. A lot of these directors are like, well, she'll just take her clothes off. Very disappointing. All right, that's
your number 7.
Yes,
we are into our last round for part 1. We are going to hit our number 6s, and I'm going to check off my Barry Mahon. I'm going to check off Fanny Hill.
Nice.
Meets Dr. Erotico. Tricked ya.
That's a tough pick because I have 2 of those I want to see more than one, but yeah.
She's back again. Bigger, more beautiful and bolder than ever. The same producers that brought you Fanny Hill Meets Lady Chatterley now bring to the screen Fanny Hill Meets Dr. Erotico.
It must be here somewhere. Somewhere there's a little mistake. One wire to keep me from creating life.
Out of the atomic vial, a monster is created, bent on terror and destruction. They love for the moment and live in fear for their very lives. Fanny Hill Meets Dr. Erotico is a motion picture that will thrill you, excite you, and keep you on the edge of your seats.
So, okay, yeah, why I picked Dr. Erotico is because, well, Casey kind of already spoiled our monster nudie with his number 10 pick, but this looks like another monster nudie. It's kind of a Frankenstein's monster sexploitation with Susan Evans and a bunch of other people who we don't know their names, as per any Barry Mahon Lost film. But yeah, that's the main hook for me. Is just it looks like a fun, goofy Frankenstein riff from Mahon. I'm looking at the poster again, which says it doesn't really play up the monster angle for whatever reason. The poster doesn't, but the trailer definitely does. The poster's like another wild chapter in her life of sin. So Fanny Hill, of course. She was 19. He was 75. But together they created life. So it's like Fanny Hill, the one who's partnering with Erotico to create this monster.
I can explain.
Okay,
because I think I'm going to reveal that this was the one I reveal I swapped out.
Okay.
Before we started.
Nice. Okay.
This was originally my number 9. This concerns. So this happens after Lady Chatterley, after the events of Lady Chatterley. So
yeah, so explain her quick. Yeah, Barry Mahon did a few of these Fanny Hill Meets movies, and most of them are lost. Yeah.
Yeah, so Fanny, I don't know what the original impetus for his Fanny Hill. He just has always said that he eventually did these as more expensive ones, which did make sense because the competition was doing more bigger, more lavish, expensive films anyway. And thus, apparently these did also were some of the highest grossers out of a lot of his sexploitation films compared to him. I don't know where I'm hearing they made at least 100,000. He might have said that, but who knows if they actually did. But again, they're bigger ones. I wouldn't be too surprised because they're not like little roughies. They could play a bit more widely at drive-ins and things like that. They're a bit more accessible to a thrill-seeking crowd and not just the raincoaters. So he starts with Fanny Hill Meets Lady Chatterley's Lover, where Fanny Hill just becomes the servant in the house of Lady Chatterley, who begins to teach her the ways of prostitution. And, she mentions, in that trailer, you could use your body for things that aren't free. You can get things out of it, so on and so forth. So she kind of takes Fanny Hill under her wing as a result. And there's that really great party sequence with all the people in costume and things. So this one, Dr. Erotico, Fanny Hill has been returns to Lady Chatterley's castle, and as evidenced by the trailers, it's the same house that they use in both. At least that staircase, at least that very visually interesting staircase. So after a hiatus in London for a year, she returns to Lady Chatterley's castle. There's no mention of if Lady Chatterley is there. It has now been let to an old doctor who is trying to bring life to this dead man that he created, Dr. Erotico. Don't know if that's his actual name in it. I don't have a press book or anything like that. I don't know if that's his actual name in it. So she doesn't work with him. What happens is Fanny Hill goes back to her hedonistic ways. And at one point, her lovemaking triggers such a strong electrical current that it is the impetus that brings the monster back to life.
Yeah, got it.
Who then falls in love with her upon sight. Dr. Erotico is very pissed about this, But he has to keep Fanny around because the monster now insists on following her everywhere. So they hide her. They hide him in her bedroom. Well, one night, a maid who has been interested in Fanny comes to her bedroom to get it on, and the monster misinterprets the sounds that Fanny is making and believes that she is being hurt. So he comes to her rescue. The maid's blood-curdling screams cause him to go berserk and run through the countryside. There's a giant chase with the angry mob, and he's cornered in a barn, and the barn is set on fire by the villagers.
Yeah, in the trailer, that barn burning, I was like, wow, Barry, this is pretty big production values here.
I've seen one or two shots where they have a whole like stagecoach. That was also in Lady Chatterley as well. Mm-hmm. They have that whole castle. They have some decent costumes. So, I mean, fingers crossed that one of these is better than something like Love Pirate.
Yeah. So I didn't know
like they are.
Yeah.
Like Red Baron has a full plane being rented and flown too. That was going to be my choice, but spoiler alert, I decided not to go with that one. But that they all do look much more expensive and actually like well produced than his usual stuff.
Well, the way you make it sound, Alex, is that this is like a direct sequel to Fanny Meets Lady Chatterley's Lover, sort of.
Very loosely, probably. Like I don't think anyone who's walking to this is gonna be like, "Hey, did I miss something by not seeing Lady Chatterley's Lover?" Like like who knows? Like I said, I don't think Lady Chatterley is again in this one. She's not in the trailer or anything like that. I feel like they would play that up at all. But yeah, I agree with you. This definitely also seems plot-wise the most interesting of the two. The Lady Chatterley, but that whole incredible ballroom orgy sequence with the woman naked in the giant glass of champagne ladling out for people and things like that. Hey, either one of these, not gonna lie.
Yeah. So that's my number 6, Dr. Erotico. Ooh, what do we got next?
I have to change mine. Actually, because a certain someone else decided to.
Well, you can reveal. I think if it's
because someone decided to come and play dirty with me. Apparently,
if you're doing a swap, you can say it now.
Okay, that's why. Yeah. So Casey has been playing with me apparently because playing with me was going to be.
Really? I picked that thinking that neither of you would pick that.
No, somebody's doing little like niche roughy dramas. No, little New York dramas. Like, don't get me started, boy. Do not get me started.
Yeah, it was in my short list too, actually.
Is there definitely some that I was like, well, I'm not going to do Come Ride the Wild Pink Horse because someone else will pick it. And like Doctors McCall, I knew someone else would pick it. So yeah.
So I'm going to have to slip in one that is honestly, this is a very big look. Like, I'm very curious to see what it could be all about out of anything that their catalog potentially has to offer. And it is released by Inter-American Film Distributors, 1967's Smoke of Evil.
Oh, yeah.
Which looks interesting in a very low rent. Kind of like the only Inter-American film that
Florida
is coming to me off the top of my head is Hoarder After Dark. And Hoarder After Dark kind of sucks because it doesn't really have an interesting plot line to go off of. So it's incredibly stale, but it's one of those things where like instead of like kind of away, they will gladly just like awkwardly zoom in to a shot to keep it going instead of like reframing and stuff like that. This one, on the other hand, has to deal with it's been a nightmare. AFI has nothing. I've only seen the exterior of the press book, which the mats for this were so poorly designed. They do not translate well to like halftone newspaper. So even the campaign was like not too well executed, which a cheap film with a distributor who doesn't even know how to properly design newspaper mats. I'm like, I got to see that. I've got to see that.
Who directed it? Do we even know who directed it?
No, have no idea who even directed it. And even in the trailer. So the film seems to concern. I love these types of movies.
It can destroy all that's beautiful. See the lewd lasciviousness of lesbian love surrounded by the smoke of smoldering passion unleashed. Blow the wreaths of smoke apart and see the club members, their bodies stripped, move and undulate and dance to an hypnotic beat. Their bodies sweat-dewed and naked, glistening in the smoke-strained light. The saddest, satisfies his lustful, bloody hunger by taking the helpless, soft flesh of an innocent victim. Join the party and meet its members, the girls who give all, and the men who take it.
People who are incensed to do warped and perverted things after they smoke marijuana. There's apparently addicts of the Mary Jane. There's all these, middle-aged people very excited to be, to be ingesting the devil's lettuce. Yeah. In a typical kind of like Friedman acid eaters kind of fashion.
Right.
And which causes them to do all sorts of things. It causes girls to start kissing girls. It causes men to become sadists wielding belts and things like that. It seems like it's just one of those like movies that's like so behind on the times.
Yeah, 67
of drug culture. It's pretty much advertising that like people will do all these like deranged and warped things because of weed. And I love a good cheap little drug scare flick like that. It has some roughy moments. It has, this and that. The campaign again looks brutally. I tried to like find bookings for this. There's hardly any. It went absolutely nowhere. And again, this is from such an odd company as well, who we have next to nothing of. And they also release, again, Peeping Phantom. They released the utterly bizarre Abortion. They released this other really weird
which we just talked about.
Yeah, exactly. They have some bizarre titles.
Yeah.
Under their belt. So Inter-American's always been one that I just want to see more of, because I'm like, they seem like they like kind of like Al Sack, where he would just like take any sort of weird piece of product. And out of any of the lost ones besides Peeping Phantom, this is the one that, based on like the cheapness of Hoarder After Dark, I'm like, I have to see what's going on in this one, even if most of it's awful. Just the absolute premise of people running afoul just because of marijuana is just one of my favorites.
Could you recognize anybody in the trailer?
No, I can't recognize anyone. The only thing I could recognize is that the two women who are in the little freeze frame title card that says "Smoke of Evil." There's like one fondling the other one.
Yeah,
that shot was also, I seen an 8x10 of that, but for their other film, Stranger on My Bed. So it's also one of those things where I don't know like what's being used for what as well. It's the same. Gunter did the same thing. Myra's Bed, the press book, has shots from Old Man's Bride. Why I have no idea. It's one of those things where even the one sheet is not that enticing. The ad mats again are hardly legible. It's like a black title against a grayscale image, which would not remotely translate well to halftone newspaper printing. Everything about this does not seem right. So it's right in my books as something that should be seen, because everything about it seems wrong.
I applaud your choice. Yeah, I saw this one too, and I kind of was digging into it. And I was like, "There's just, what do you say about it? We don't know anything about it." So,
no, but that's what makes it so
I guess that does make it so interesting. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, because it could be anything. Yeah, it could be anything. But again, it looks like I love a good primitive cheapie. Every once in a while. I'm so fascinated by the people who tried but couldn't make it. And things, especially some of these little Florida fly-by-night guys. Because there's a couple of them, like Empire Film Distributors and things like that. Like there's 2 or 3 little distributors who tried, but they just absolutely drowned in the process.
Yeah, that's a good swap. All right, Alex. What about Casey? You got an original, or are you doing a swap?
No, I've been doing originals the whole time. I'm lucky. I've lucked out.
Alex, for the record, you've only done one swap, right? That's your only swap?
Yeah, just one.
All right.
I'm lucky. Well, I'm doing my number 6 is my Mahon pick.
Great.
And also before we move on, I should mention, since we're talking about Mahon, and specifically you mentioned the Fanny Hills. The Fanny Hill films are around.
Yeah.
They are owned by, and I should say past tense, were owned, quote unquote, by an insane maniac named John Rickard in Florida, who also owns Fireball Jungle, who also owns Joe Sarno's Misty, and couldn't make a deal with After Hours Cinema or Retro Seduction Cinema to put that out when Sarno was alive, because they were trying to do all the 70s ones, and that was the one he claimed he owned. He had a bunch of other ones. I think he says he owns Cuban Rebel Girls as well. So he has those Mahons and Cuban Rebel Girls he owns. This was a long time ago, and I believe he is no longer with us. So I don't know where those Elements went. I don't know what his estate is. He had a company called Co-Producers Corporation, and he has a lot of fabricated records in the Copyright Office, which should have sent him to jail because he forged legal records saying that Barry Mahon sold these movies to him when he absolutely did not. So wherever he is now, he's looking up at us. So I'll put it that way. So my Barry Mahon movie was not claimed to be owned by John Rickert. It is Prowl Girls.
Yeah.
which is let me tell you, you guys know it's tough to pick a Barry Mahon movie that you're like, which is the one that I want to see above all the rest. So I almost went with Girl Smugglers was my other one. This one I chose because I love the mix of drugs and sex.
Who are the runaway daughters? Where do they come from? Where do they live? And how do they live? All these questions and more will be answered in full when you see Runaway Daughters, a motion picture of the young and the wild. They are free and wild when they are together. They live for love and love to live.
Come on, Ed. You can do what you want. It's my first time.
Never has a motion picture dared discuss the subject of runaway youth as depicted in this shock-filled story.
What's the matter? You're eating and you're having a good time, ain't you? What do you need money for?
I've got to have a new supply of birth control pills.
Birth control pills? What do you need them for?
Look, this may be fun and all that, but I'm not going to get hooked with some kid. I'd look pretty funny around here 7 or 8 months gone.
So the synopsis from the AFI catalog: when Sally Mae's boyfriend Tarzan, which pause for laughter, is expelled from high school for peddling marijuana, she rebels against her middle-class background, thinking that he has been treated unfairly. She joins Tarzan in his East Village hippie crash pad, in quotes. He organizes a profitable racket, luring suckers from uptown to watch the wild parties that take place in the pad. He appeals to their sympathy to extract large sums of money for the supposed rehabilitation of the young female participants. The racket is so successful that other operators, including Big Daddy and Butterfly, join in the enterprise. After several months, Sally Mae learns about the racket and goes to live with a businessman she met at one of the parties. Big Daddy, Tarzan, and Butterfly seek her out to make sure she doesn't talk to the police. They abduct her, give her an overdose of heroin, and leave her dead in the basement of a village flophouse. And that's the movie. So I read that AFI catalog description. I was like, this is my Mahon pick. Because this is so dark. And and listen, I know that they were going to shoot in some really good East Village locations, including these, basements and flop houses of the East Village. It was also released as Runaway Daughters, which I think you can tell when you watch the trailer. You'll see Prowl Girls. What, you're saying that's not right?
It first came out as Runaway Daughters.
Oh, and then was reissued as Prowl Girls.
It was reissued as Prowl Girls.
Interesting.
So Prowl Girls, because I almost bought a one sheet once where the Prowl Girls snipe was loose and was falling off of the Runaway Daughters title. Oh. Also, the trailer element I briefly had for it was listed as the can had Runaway Daughters on it. The leader had Prowl Girls quickly etched onto it.
Runaway Daughters does sound like more
Prowl
road
Girls
show.
looks like it looks like the Prowl Girls title card looks like it's spliced in. I never got to see the neg on like actual rewind or anything like that, but like I wouldn't be surprised to see some harsh splice in titles for Prowl Girls.
Right.
Because I think
that's a better title.
Might have been another film already. I don't know. I forget. But
I wasn't Runaway Daughters a 50s AIP movie?
Yes. So almost every
1956 Runaway Daughters starring Marla English. Yeah, it was an AIP exploitation movie from the 50s.
Was like hastily sniped on to the Runaway Daughters campaign.
Right, which is a better title. Proud Girls is a better title.
It's unfortunately one of the ones that we know was tossed because a reel of picture neg was lifted out of a dumpster. So you can only imagine that the rest of it is in that dumpster.
But a reel does exist.
One reel of picture does exist.
No audio.
No audio.
Yeah.
The only thing that man had was just picture, unfortunately.
Damn. Well, that sucks. Knockers McCullough is in it, which we love to see.
Yes.
Sue Akers, who's in all 3 of the Peter Woodcock films. She's in Monique and Daughters to Lesbos and Return to the Secret Society. I was excited to see Kristen Steen because I'm a big Kristen Steen person. She was like a willowy, like blonde. She was in The Mind Blowers and The Procurer, and also Young Erotic Fanny Hill. And then she actually did a little bit of hardcore. She was the nurse in Sometimes Sweet Susan. She played a younger version of Catherine Burgess in Through the Looking Glass, even though she's older than Catherine Burgess, I think, in that movie. Then she also was in the X-rated Alice in Wonderland musical. And she still lives here in New York. I'm dying to speak to her. She was interviewed briefly in the Other Hollywood, the Legs McNeil book. There's quotes from her, so I know she'll talk. It's just a question of trying to get an interview with her. They're another Chancellor films and narrated by Leo Shell, and that's all the info I have. But that plot description
seems like such a crime that so many of the Mahons from this period are lost, because it does seem like he's following the trends and like things are getting a little bit rougher, a little bit more explicit. Nice to be able to see some of these, to see
because
how
since we've all picked our Mahons, I'm just going to mention Girl Smugglers as well. In terms of plot, that's another pretty dark one where women are being kidnapped and brought into New York to be trained to be high class prostitutes. And the way it goes is the brother is someone whose sister got kidnapped and tied up in all this, plots to try and bring them down, which again is also unfortunately lost because actually this might have been one that was listed on that lab that was putting up his films for sale.
There was
Girl Smugglers, because it was originally released by Sack Amusement, but he apparently got the neg back for that one, and it was put up for sale.
Prowl Girls was not on that list.
I don't
believe. No, because I remember we went over that list in our Run Swinger Run episode, and I don't think that was. There were 2 that did not ring a bell, but Prowl Girls was not one of them.
Yeah, I don't know if the Fanny Hills were on that either. Or all
I'm trying to think what the roughest Barry Mahon was. I mean, the Sex Killer from '65 is probably the closest he. I mean, even Good Time with a Bad Girl, not really that rough. Busty Brown,
maybe Prowl Girls or Smugglers. Because I don't know, Girl Smuggler shows a lot of rough stuff in its trailer. It's only 67 minutes. Right. So I would argue maybe Prowl Girls or Smugglers for now. Because Sex Killer, I can't think of him killing a lot of people in that. I'm trying to remember. I don't even think he kills a lot of people in that.
No, it's mostly like voyeurism.
It's interesting. But even that one's like, that could have been much darker.
Yeah.
Than it is. Like in Sex Killer, at least he's not kidnapping and drugging women. He's just a sad little pervert alone with his mannequin.
Yeah, the prints for that, it was Arta Lab that had these, was censored. Prostitutes Protective Society, Good Time with the Bad Girl, Sin in the City, Hot Skin and Cold Cash, Nude on the Run, which was Swinger on the Run, Girl Smugglers, Sex Killer, Sex Club International, Warm Bed, Busty Brown, I Was a Man, and then the 2 that I don't know, which are Smut Shop and Party Wives. And that was what was at Arta Lab. And why is Girl Smugglers is the one of those that we know, I don't know the last 2, that is not around. So I think it's very strange that that's the one that we don't have any access to.
Yeah, that he did that Mondo Daytona film. Is that really true? That he co-directed that? It apparently exists.
Mondo Daytona was turned into Musical Mutiny. Okay. In Musical Mutiny, there was footage shot at Pirate World of Iron Butterfly coming to perform. So I think all of that footage is Barry Mahon. I don't think Mondo Daytona is him. I don't believe. I think it was added to that.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, Frank Willer directed that. And then that was 68. And then 2 years later, he added on footage of Iron Butterfly for Musical Mutiny.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's Mahon. So we've all exhausted our Mahons, huh?
Yes.
So part 2 should get interesting.
Yes.
Let's see. Casey's done a Mahon and a Sandy. Alex has done a Mahon and Have you done a Sandy?
Sandy?
Yep.
Oh yeah, you
people play.
Yep, games you
Oh
people
yeah.
play.
Okay. Well, then you still have a Sandy left, Gentry.
Yep.
Now I wonder what it is.
Lips are sealed.
I do have a press book for the singles. That's why I almost picked the singles, but I decided not to.
Really? That was the one Sandy.
I love the idea of a
like
computer.
I saw the trailer and I was like, I don't know, man.
Oh, really? I like the idea of a computer dating service in the 60s. I'm just like, I like the idea of, it's kind of like Electronic Lover. I like movies of that era that are like toying with technology. So like Whips Women with a video camera is crazy in 1967 to have a video camera. So like the singles, I was this close to choosing the singles, just because, I like the idea of a computer dating, and it looked like a computer that took up the whole room, like on Mad Men, because that's what computers were. They took up
that thing was
space.
huge. In that.
Oh yeah, I was like, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. But
they did that rent a date thing in another sexploitation movie that's totally skipping my mind
They
here.
did that. They did it. They had it briefly in Weekend Lovers in 1970, which I just watched, which is the Dwayne Avery movie.
I feel like there's another one where some
Frankie
old
and Johnny
had a dating service, but then other people got involved in the dating service for darker reasons to take it over.
Yes,
I'm forgetting it. I
that?
think it's New York. Some old lady is having a dating service, but someone else takes it over, and I didn't like it. So this is probably why I don't remember the actual title.
Yeah,
I saw it for the first time a couple months
is.
ago. Yeah, I saw it for the first time a couple months ago and did not like it.
Oh, now it's gonna bother me.
Wait, what is the one that Barry Mahon produced that has the guy Some Like It Violent? I think it's in Some Like It Violent.
Yes, that's it.
Oh yeah,
Some Like It
That's
Violent.
Yeah.
Yes,
the Kamal Harulu movie.
Yes,
the only good thing about that is the opening scene.
Yeah, it's the same setup. Yeah, where it's like a rent-a-date service, and the room has a giant computer in it, and that's just how they depicted computers. And all it does is just spit out like a name, like, oh, this person matches with this person.
I did have you did name, so I didn't have to switch anything out, but I did have, what should I have as an alternate? I had Knockers McCullough as an alternate in case someone else took Prowl Girls, but so I'm still swap free.
All right.
So we'll see how it goes next time when I'm top 5.
Yep. Alex, you got 1 swap left. Me and Casey got 2 left. All right. Well, stay tuned.
We're getting into for me, I'm getting into, because I'm going chronologically, I'm getting into late 60s, early 70s now.
Yes.
I'm
keeping my mouth closed.
I know. I think Gentry and you and I are going to have the same.
We might have
a title that one of us going to have to switch. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying not to say anything.
I know. We'll see which one of us gets there first.
You got me nervous now. Yeah.
Well,
there's
I don't know.
I know you probably have.
Well, don't say anything. Just
I know. There's just like this whole time. Like,
but I was very mindful with that. It actually made it much easier. I was like, well, I know Gentry or Alex are going to pick one of the, like, Ride the Pink Horse. Obviously, I was like, one of you guys would pick it. So I was like, okay, I'm not even going to list it.
All right. You went about this a different. So your list is not like your pure top 10. It's a strategized top 10.
If we were doing a pure top 10, it would include many titles where there are no trailers.
Yeah.
Like Corporate Queen is like number 1 for me. Corporate Queen, the Amaro Brothers movie. We have no evidence of anything about that movie except for like stills and a press book, which I have both of.
Yeah.
This is slightly abbreviated because again, I would have picked like a Sadistic Lover as my top 1.
This could be another episode, down the road. Maybe we'll do the non-trailer Lost.
Right. We'll have no sound for it.
Yeah, let's give them something because this is normally very hard to find anything on these.
Yes.
So at the very least, if some people can go over to Cult Picks, like, good luck find half this press material available online.
Right.
I know.
You got to invest in this. Unfortunately, folks, you got to invest sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know why I don't have a. You want to know why I don't have a retirement nest egg? This shit that I buy a lot of stuff from Lost Movies because it's the only way that I'll ever know what the hell they were.
Exactly.
So I have to have them, and it's really frustrating. The real collectors know the struggle when you buy something and you spend a lot of money on it and you get it. And then you're like, oh, there's no cast or crew info in this. There's like literally nothing in this except for like some stills and where you can order the posters from. consolidated.
Or it just turns out that looks like it
that's
sucks
rough.
as well.
That
I just
too.
opened a few and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, I've done that too. Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, before when in the good old days of eBay, if you bought like a lot, you'd be lured in by like one title. It's like, okay, I need that one title, and then you'll get us all this other stuff with it. Sometimes you'll get some really nice surprises, and then sometimes you'll like, oh, I have a lot of the stuff already. It's not great. But
don't get started with nice surprises.
I know.
Well, thanks, boys, for joining me here for part 1.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to part 2.
Yeah.
Getting into our final picks.
Oh yeah, the heat's now on.
The heat is on.
I know.
The heat's now more on. I'm gonna be spending the next week like going back.
I know, because I have my list. I'm like, should I keep
your
this?
choices. Well,
I
feel
might need to
free.
save you ones. That's it. I might need. Some
I'm not going to
safety.
stop you guys from, making changes if you'd like to.
I know. We're not locked
Nobody
in
will
for
know.
that.
Yep.
Nope. I'm just locked into the fact that I
with
already
mine.
used one. That's it.
Right. I think I'm good with mine. I'm good with mine. Like I spent a long ass time going over them, so I'm like, no, I think I'm good. I'm good.
I won't say anything further.
You do what you want to. You're the boss. I've told you how I feel about it, but it's up to you.
Thank you for listening. To hear more shows from the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, please select the link in the description.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface-level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.